Li Yuyang didn't dodge or dodge. Prepare for this attack head-on. There was a loud pop. The fist slammed into Li Yuyang's body. It's like a tomato exploding. The entire screen was already covered in blood. Kachimara's left arm was completely shattered. Anti-fake harm. Let Li Yuyang's blood trough also be close to zero. Ian Jing left me alone. Hurry up and use divine blessing. Ian Jing, the therapist, was also stunned. If you don't add more blood, you're going to die. Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted. I'm going to give him the final blow. Hurry up and get the debuff. Ian Jing no longer hesitated. The great divine blessing unfolds in place. Soon the body of the Poland pill was completely caged. Covered up. Paralyzing triggers, fear triggers, illusion triggers, real name effect triggers. This time it triggered 4 debuffs in a row. Luck simply exploded. Li Yuyang did not dare to delay. Ma Dongwang's fist switched instantly. Poor Mimaru's body was completely immobile. Can only watch. Watched Li Yuyang come to the top of his head. The fists began to glow. The snail and the earthquake are launched at the same time. Blazing magma instantly filled the entire screen. Li Yuyang roared angrily and kept moving forward. However, poor Maru has regained his mobility. The huge arm smashed Li Yuyang's body. Dirk and Ian quiet roared. But it was too late to rescue. The Play to Death skill is still on CD. Li Yuyang is very few fierce this time. I saw the red figure flying farther and farther. Ian Jing saw a hint of clues. Something stood in front of Li Yuyang. Look closely. It was the Frost Wolf King just now. Under the powerful attack power of the Paremu. The wolf gave a shrill click. Li Yuyang's expression was shocked. Could it be that he just saved him? This is to repay the favor. With the Wolf King as a buffer, Li Yuyang managed to get rid of the attack. Then he accelerated violently. Take the arm of the Poland pill as the fulcrum. The whole person flew to the side. The arms glowed again. Snails and earthquakes recoagation. There was a loud bang. The double spin successfully smashed on the top of Poland pill's head. Under the strong action of snails and earthquakes, Li Yuyang's whole person was shocked and flew out. Meanwhile, dense insights also struck. But the gloom dissipated. The skull of the Paremu reappeared. Could it be that he and the old bird joined forces to strike? Can't even get rid of this S-class guy in seconds? See the boss's broken head. Li Yuyang smiled slightly. The damage is still a little worse. It's not a big problem, though. The voice did not fall. Another figure descended from the sky. The huge scythe shone brightly. Split the body of the Poromon pill in two. It was Jack the Pumpkinhead who shot it. With the artifact added, this A-class Avenger has finally raised his eyebrows. With the scythe constantly accessed, Jack's body began to spin as well. Li Yuyang clenched his fists. Cheers silently on the side. The Central Strip Regiment succeeded in killing it. Handkillers can record their names. The Dragon Camp does not stab the Legion's morale decreased. The ecology of the Heartland will change dramatically. Before the resurrection of the Poromaru, the number of giant wolves in Shuanghan will increase. A series of system prompts. Jack, who had his head over, let out a hearty laugh. My dear friend, thank you very much. Except for me, though. There are also people who want to say hello to you. Follow Jack's finger. A pack of twin wolves has come up to surround them. The Wolf King, who survived by luck, looked at Li Yuyang with blazing eyes. He bowed his head slightly. It's like Thanksgiving. The corners of Li Yuyang's mouth also rested. Helped solve the natural enemy of Poland pill. Yuyang gained the friendship of the twin wolves. And during the period before the rebirth of the Poland pill, twin wolves can get a lot of hair. The fertility of this ethnic group is very strong. If the quantity is sufficient, the boss of the dungeon may need one. Pumpkinhead Jingjing sighed. It's not enough to just kill Poland pill. Both the Emperor and his master, Oz, are still alive. Ian Jing asked curiously why. Why did you kill Oz? Does he have a grudge against you? Li Yuyang Gongxiang stopped. It's obviously too late. It's like touching a plot switch. Jake's locked for a moment. Again, the story is a bit long. Do you really want to hear it? As a newbie, Einjing nodded without hesitation. But this is bitter Li Yuyang and Dirtcat. Pumpkinhead was silent for a few seconds. Begin to talk about your past and present lives. A long time ago, a puppeteer who only knows how to mine. There was an abrupt stop. He couldn't figure out why he was mining. Why live in a mine all the time? After awakening Ling Ji, the scarecrow stopped what he was doing. He was looking for meaning in life. Right now, Oz's men walked over. He's the little boss who runs the mines. He was driven out of work by a puppet. The little boss immediately ordered to jump into the lava. At the moment of receiving the order, Jack's body didn't listen to it. He walked towards the river and the sea. After all, he's just an ordinary puppeteer. After his death, there will be more companions to the collective. Suddenly, a miracle happened. A huge explosion rang out behind him. The body of the little boss was smashed to pieces. A girl's voice reached the scarecrow's ears. "Scrawny friends, what is your name?" Flames lit up above the scarecrow's head. It's because of this Carno's shard. Jack had come to his senses. A woman named Farasai pushes the boat down the river. Help Jack do a little makeover. Since the wick is added, of course, there has to be a corresponding protective cover. So, the pumpkin head was a gift from Farasai to Jack. From that day on, Jack had been following Farasai. The girl's smile was like a wind chime. It has been haunting Jack's ears. And Farasai lives with only one goal. That's revenge. Kill Oz, the enemy of the race. In this area, Oz the savior. In order to smelt rare metals, his men burned, killed, and hunted. Do no evil. It was on that day. Farasai and Jack meet a survivor. Because of Oz, men transform their bodies. But he still couldn't beat Oz's men. The revenge team is getting bigger. There is a scythe-wielding pumpkin head. There are also woodcutters in tin armor. And the timid lion and the brave Farasai. The expeditionary force was assembled. They are getting closer and closer to the brink of despair. No surprises. The power of the expeditionary forces was destroyed. When Jack came back to his senses, he had already arrived in the central continent. He lost his memory after the battle. I don't even know if my companions are alive or dead. A quiet listener burst into tears. At the last minute, though, Farasai once said, "Jack, remove the pumpkin head. Maybe kind girls. You don't want me to see what this looks like." Speaking of which, Jack clenched his fists on his way to find his companion. My memory has been on and off. And in the city of Solomon, the Dark Lord has long been consumed by evil. So he didn't know what was going on. Until now you have appeared in front of me. Listen to the whole story. A few people figured out the timeline. When they go to the dark field, Jack broke away from the copy. And then I came to Oz. And in the end, he was defeated by Polan Maru. Before it was sealed underground. Now that the matter is over, Jack is ready to continue his quest for revenge. He wants to continue Farasai's strategy. Until the moment he kills Oz. You have reached the end of the ground of corruption. The first entrant will be recorded. Just into the depths of the groundbreaking of corruption. Two little Gada flew out. That is, it contains extremely A-class characteristics such as vampires. Claw of Hardblood Hunter resistance. 2 meters tall. Dirtcat is the first to attack. The exploding sword exploded next to the vampire. And Jack is even more crisp. Rival SS and strength. Killing this group of A-class people is like chopping melons and vegetables. Li Yuyang, who was idle on the side, almost smiled crookedly. With Jack Langton as a helper, they've saved a lot of effort. Oz has a lot of strong men, especially the Emperor of the Left Legion of the Undead Legion, and the Right Legion Commander Dark Knight. Judging by the previous attack on the 8-legged king, the major forces are taking the initiative to absorb forces. Emperor. Both the king and the Dark Knight are products of the aftermath of the cataclysm. Even the broken wheel play of S is their little brother. The strength can be imagined. The solid walls crumbled. A huge explosion rang out. In Jack's domineering attack, they cut short into the boss room, one of the strongest twins in the Biwang immortal line. It is also Oz's most important right-hand man. Look at the figure on the throne. Li Yuyang whispered to inquire about the information, but Jack didn't know the details of the other party. You can only take one step at a time. As the frost of Yongfeng broke, the Emperor has finally awakened. The king is unlocking. Under Jack's gaze, the sound of gears turning echoed throughout the room. The king of ground is rising. Jack stared intently at the massive armor. Body, he felt a familiar breath. Are you Tepeshev? The boss doesn't answer Jack's question. The clicking sound on his body was getting louder and louder. Emperor rank S rank trait dark. Immortal Zhao Ye summons the ground. Shock injuries to excess heart. Height 4 meters. A faint point of light appears in the armor. Red robes fluttered in the wind. In Li Yuyang's shocked gaze, the huge axe was raised high. The cold air that makes people dare not look directly falls from the sky. This is a mix of physical and magical damage. Everyone, pay attention to dodge. But the clothes have not fallen. The cold light brought by the giant axe is already approaching. A huge explosion flew everyone first. A click echoed throughout the room. A cloud of ice exploded on the ground. The cold air spread like a jumpsuit. It's now. Hurry up. Li Yuyang is in the Xian clan. Rush towards the boss at great speed. But a figure quickly overtook him. Jack's scythe falls from the sky. But it was blocked in place by a huge block. He still didn't give up. The name of Tipikov was still being shouted in his mouth. Nicholas, wake up quickly. But the Emperor's instructions waved slightly. Jack, who threw off the power shot. Li Yuyang has also come to the mirror. The morning blade hits the boss quickly. But it's all metal. Doesn't trigger the bleed effect at all. Just when Li Yuyang wanted to find the weakness of King Bai, a bright light of a monk's letter appeared in front of him. Li Yuyang was so frightened that he hurriedly retreated. It's about to be hit in a second. The light rises to the sky. Suddenly exploded in the office. Violent energy fluctuations shake the room. The force of the ice has caused the temperature to drop, and Li Yuyang has just dodged the deadly attack. Morahin's axe has fallen from the sky, almost cut off on Li Yuyang's body. Meow as he is, I can imagine that ancient knights could even use magic. This is the loss of having no information. Li Yuyang just gritted his teeth. The Emperor's next attack came again, accompanied by a violent explosion. The Emperor paused for a moment. The next second, the backlash came. Dirk Cat took the opportunity to rush over. The two crosses launched countless envoys at the same time. Hit the Emperor on the body. Under such a dense offensive, the Emperor can only keep retreating. Wait until the fire suppression is over. Dirk Cat hurriedly rushed to Li Yuyang's side. This kid just used to play dead and fight back. Escaped again. But they didn't wait for the two to breathe a sigh of relief. King Bai's arm began to condense his magic again. Ian Jing hurriedly raised his hand behind him. Divine Sanctuary activated. When the light envelopes the King of Bai, the paralysis state is triggered successfully. But this time it was too bad luck. Only one debuff was triggered. This guy he meows has too much resistance. Didn't have to fight. He also has a very high debuff resistance. This S-rank top boss. The strength exceeded Li Yuyang's expectations. If you get close, you will be slowed down by frost. The armor on the body is offensive and defensive. It's just the perfect setting. But in front of Li Yuyang, there is nothing that is absolutely impossible to beat. Just as he was ready to make his move, a flame suddenly burned in the room. Dirk Cat and Li Yuyang looked at each other sluggishly. The pumpkin head seems to be stimulated. He was surrounded by flames from the great street. Nicholas, my partner, wake up. We're the real teammates. Li Yuyang sluggishly turned on the melon-eating mode. The appearance of former partners caused an unexpected change in Jack. Even the death scythe began to be stigmatized. Li Yuyang decisively drank the life potion. I almost forgot about this A who can grow. Plus helper. This is a battle that we have to fight. The hot flames cut through the air. The Emperor of the Ice attribute was completely enveloped. Immediately after that, the crossbow bolts rang out continuously. A violent explosion sounded over the Emperor. But this S-class boss didn't react. He just raised his arms slightly. A sharp blade swept out. Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted to hurry up and bend over. The attack is coming. Immediately afterwards, the three of them hurriedly leaned back, only to see how to escape the deadly cold. Fought for so long. The boss has half of his blood left. Are we sure we want to continue? Unexpectedly, Li Yuyang smiled slightly. Rest assured. After a while, this guy will fall into a moment of rest. When the time comes, there will be a mutation in his body. And that's our chance. Seeing that the ice on the boss's body is getting stronger and stronger, the entire armor was wrapped in the cold. But right now, a soft voice came from Li Yuyang's ears. Hurry up and come, brother. This voice made Li Yuyang stop moving. He began to constantly recall the testicles of his past life. Finish this quest. He was interviewed on television. But I didn't mention that there would be strange noises. Li Yuyang watched the drama even with the rest of the dynasty. Dirk and Jack are normal. Is it only you who can hear this voice? Li Yuyang's eyebrows couldn't help frowning. What exactly does that reminder mean? But it doesn't matter. Anyway, Lao Tzu has long recalled the specific strategy. As they keep attacking, the Emperor's body actually began to carbonize. Countless tiny pieces began to fall from his body. Fall. A piercing click kept ringing through the armor. Dirk Cat hurriedly backed away. Is it finally about to start mutating? This guy isn't in the right state. In fact, although the anti-epidemic power of the Emperor's armor is very high, but he was afraid of the heat. Jack and Dirk Cat attack. Keep the armor warm, and the frost that adheres to it. It is repeated all the time in the state of melting and freezing. This will speed up the oxidation process of the armor. It also makes the boss's body stiffer. That's the key to the strategy dungeon. Li Yuyang also. I remembered that interview. I learned the secret. As the armor continued to rust, the Emperor's body also became immobile. He roared and began to summon his men. 3 teleportation arrays appear in the room. Alert for a moment. The smaller armored man was revealed in front of everyone. Jimarash grade A+. Height 4.4 meters, Soul Autumn Reaper level A+. Height 4.4 meters, Iron Golem level A+. Height unknown. See these 3 familiar-looking monsters. There was a hint of shock in Jack's eyes. Since you remember what we looked like, then why are you attacking me? The script is being carried out in the court consultation with Yang. Summon other monsters. Does it mean the boss? Entered the second stage. But Dirk's words were not answered. As everyone knows, the old bird has completely stayed at this moment. He looked at the 3 A-level monsters in a daze. In the memories of a past life, the boss will summon several A-class mobs. Kill the mobs to enter the final stage. The reality is quite different, and the delicate aura on King Bai is slowly fading. A frost once again covered the armor. Ian couldn't help but remind. What do we do next? The voice did not fall. The rust on the Emperor's body is completely gone. Even the health bar is full. At this time, Li Yuyang was completely numb. Strategies may be generated with individual actions. Subtle gaps. But he missed too much. Apeless, a lion puppet already, came to Li Yuyang. Sharp claws crossed through the air. The old bird was pitted by the raiders this time. The old bird couldn't have imagined it. I was actually pitted by the raiders. When the boss fully recovers a plus, Gilly Island flashes in front of you. Li Yuyang finally woke up. Maybe the core of the strategy is not here. Dirk Cat also took the lead in counterattacking. Countless explosions smashed into the iron golem. But when the explosion ended, the tin golem turned out to be unscathed. The charge was launched. A face full of shock under the silence. Without hesitation, the divine sanctuary was opened. Huge passports have just been formed. A cool breeze came from behind him. The The sharp light of the knife cut through the air. At the last moment, huge scythe saved the defenseless Ainjing. Ugly and inferior products dared to attack my companions. Dirk also took the opportunity to distance himself. But the current field is very unfavorable for several parties. S and the boss at the top plus 3A level monsters. The most critical thing is Li Yuyang, who has always been mature and fierce. There were times when I made mistakes. And Li Yuyang at this time, also caught in a dilemma. He's thinking wildly. I own the 3 artifacts and King Ma's explosive output ability, plus Ainjing and Dirk the cat. In the end, can you kill this boss head-on? Without waiting for Li Yuyang to continue thinking, that strange voice sounded in my head again. What the hell is there in my brother? This is completely unknown information. Suddenly, Li Yuyang sighed. He chose to trust his sixth sense. Help me fight for 3 minutes. I've got a way to get rid of this big guy. As soon as the words fell, the audience fell silent. The awkward atmosphere lasted for 3 seconds. Origin agreed. After all, there are thigh hugs. Meow with him, and you're going to be desperate. Li Yuyang immediately took out the arm of the Horse King. A huge roar resounded throughout the audience. Then the fist slammed into the floor. The force of the impact shattered the stone in an instant. Li Yuyang gritted his teeth and worked harder again. Bang! The entire floor was punctured. Li Yuyang also fell into the pit. Lao Tzu is a hardcore person. No boss can stop Lao Tzu's footsteps. You have reached the end of the ground of corruption. First-time entrants will have their names recorded. Light came to the dark cavern. Li Yuyang was in midair and looked down. I saw a red lake. The mooring stands in the center of the cave. Could this be the blood of the legendary immortal bird? No wonder the boss has such a strong recovery ability. It turns out that his secret is hidden here. The blood of the undead bird is the monster's recovery potion. So much blood among them together. Then there must be something at the bottom of the lake. Li Yuyang yelled at Yamengard. Come out for Lao Tzu. The ring on the hand glows. After a wave of good fortune, the colossal German guard appeared out of thin air. Li Yuyang licked his tongue happily. The density of the lake is too great, and it may contain highly toxic substances. It's up to Jimengard to move. In the next second, Li Yuyang's body shrank. It was hidden in the mouth of Jemigad. Wait until your mouth is closed. Jemingard. Without hesitation, he rushed into the blood-colored lake. A hurtful pressure came. Li Yuyang's guess was not wrong. The density of the lake is too great. You can't stay long without special equipment. As the huge submarine keeps advancing, Li Yuyang finally found a trace of mud. That's what it is. Lao Tzu is numb this time. Follow his line of sight. In the center of the lake stands a black area, and in the center of the region is the beating heart of Biwang. Immerse yourself in the blood of the undead. The boss has infinite regeneration. That's more than the heart is a property, judging by the memories of a past life. No player inherits this passive, but the voice rings in my head. Where the hell is it sent by the divine? Just when Li Yuyang was thinking, a light suddenly lit up in the center of Wu. Beat with a huge formation. A summoned beast appeared. This thing is a puppet that takes care of the heart, but in such a harsh environment. How to fight a level A monster. Damn game planning. Sure enough, I kept my hand back. The twin ponytail golems only paused for a moment, and he rushed towards Jemingad. Li Yuyang hurriedly asked for command. Let Jemingard rush towards the lake. In such a high-pressure environment, the puppet's movements were unaffected. Li Yuyang gritted his teeth angrily. But there is nothing to be done. It can only be kept moving in the distance. But the next second, the lake suddenly began to roll. A powerful airflow emerged from the two ponytails. Jarmangard is also in the sphere of influence. Li Yuyang was shocked and moved up and down. This guy can actually use the snail skill. The entire bottom of the lake was transformed into a giant tornado. Don't wait for the airflow to end. Countless black swords appeared behind the puppet. The sound of thumping kept ringing. The sword slammed into an acceleration. ingest quickly into the distance. Guard could only move up and down, but the body was still shot through a few holes. Li Yuyang's body was also smashed and leaned back. Wait until he opens his eyes. The double ponytail has come to the head of Guard. The fist slammed down. The huge impact made Yi Mingjiade open his mouth. Li Yuyang was also exposed to the lake's water. This puppet he meows is too smart. They even knew I was hiding in the mouth of the summoned beast. The double ponytail speeds up. Holding a long sword, he slashed at Li Yuyang. In the intense water pressure and the scorching of the blood of the immortal birds, Li Yuyang almost collapsed on the spot. It's so damnable. The goal is close at hand, but they can't touch it. Just when Li Yuyang thought it was over, triggered by the sum and subjects trait. It is a title earned in the deep sea. Didn't wait for Li Yuyang to make a move. A huge blast has been smashed. But what shocked the double ponytail was the man in front of him actually regained his freedom of movement. The morning blade swept by. The double ponytail quickly opened the distance. The blood of the immortals boiled again. But the huge water pressure can no longer affect Li Yuyang. Unexpectedly, deep sea passive can only be triggered at high pressure. Before that, Li Yuyang didn't know the method to use at all. He clenched his fists excitedly. It's nice to be back at the top. And not only that, because of the soaking of the blood of the immortal birds. Jurmungad also triggers the battle-hardened passive. He had previously devoured monsters and accumulated experience papers, plus the pro-addiction to the blood of the immortal bird. Guard has finally evolved. Huge horns appeared above his head. Feet are pitch black. Grade Bijia. Immune to highly toxic effects. Immunity to magic. 20 meters tall to see the situation reversed. The double ponytail stood stunned in place. The round that belongs to Li Yuyang is coming. Let's do it quickly. You can't break your promise for 3 minutes. Meanwhile, the battle on the ground continues. After a huge explosion, the tin golem collapsed in a corner. The skull is gone. The dirt cat was even more frightened and kept retreating. Only Einjing. He looked at his hands in shock. The Demon King's left arm is level A+. It can provide the user with super attack power. Attack damage is increased by 4,444. The right arm of the Shield Demon King. It also increases attack damage by 4,444. It's a pair of ultra-violent gear. It is also the trophy that killed the Poland pill, an item that is not a disaster attribute. Li Yuyang himself can't use it at all. So he was before he entered the younger brother. It was given to Einjing, but as a qualified milk. Of course, Einjing doesn't have any combat skills. Take it. It may have unexpected results. After speaking, Li Yuyang hurriedly ran out. Time comes back to the present. Ajiaji's Zimaras lay quietly on the ground. Dirt Cat has not yet recovered from the shock. Just now, Zymira's corpse crosses the Dirt Cat and rushes towards a feminine. At that time, Jack was also haunted by the Soul Harvester. There was no time to go to the rescue. Just when the huge claws were about to fall, Ian quietly accumulates the strength of his whole body. Prepare to give the monster a hard blow before you die. A preliminary like A+ one-handed weapon can only provide around 3,000 attack damage. It's like a full set of box hooks for the King of Horses. The attack damage provided is only 3,600 and 3,000. Therefore, the current Ian sword is purely based on attack power, not to be left behind by the pros. When his fist is confronted with the Zymira, the moment of contact, the huge claws shattered. The powerful force blasted the monster away in an instant. This is the unexpected surprise of a high-attack nurse. After all, no one could have imagined. The weakest link in the team. It turned out to be the one with the highest attack power. One less enemy. The situation suddenly went to a trance. I believe that Li Yuyang should come back soon. A powerful energy shot out from the twin ponytails. Li Yuyang rode the evolved Guard. Approach at breakneck speed. The next second, Guard opened his mouth. Majestic power erupted. Blazing flames burned at the bottom of the lake. But a group of red jumpsuits suddenly appeared. The double ponytail exerts its strength again, directly dispersed the burning flames. Yermungand continued to accelerate. Just when they were about to make contact, the double ponytail suddenly stopped, because he discovered a terrible thing. The top of Yermungand's head. It's empty. Trying to catch me at my peak. You're thinking about it. It was Li Yuyang who spoke. At this moment, he had come to the puppet's body. For a crispy and agile player, he has self-confidence. Few people can surpass themselves in speed. The double ponytail was just about to turn around to rescue. Yermungand had already rushed over. The huge dragon's mouth bites the golem fiercely. Drag him to the bottom of the lake. A dazzling light lit up in front of Li Yuyang's eyes. The morning blade stabbed hard into the heart. At the moment when the heart suddenly shattered, the boss on the ground also began to roar. The emperor's body was rapidly dissipating. Dirk Cat looked at the drill in front of him in horror. The tin golem also stopped. The summoned beasts also die with the boss. Begin to crumble. Li Yuyang's side seems to have succeeded. Yermungand was still tearing at the puppet in his mouth. In the next second, the double ponytail disappeared in an instant. Yuyang looked at him blankly. Where the heart disappears. A huge black hole, absorbing the blood of the undead. And on the ground, the soon-to-be dissipated Arm King is still struggling to die in ice. His body became more distorted. Powerful frost power. Cover it completely. Lost his own heart. The boss seems to be in a state of confusion. Dirt cats and swallows on the periphery. Jing was also affected by the explosion. Dirt Cat hurriedly retreated and launched a counterattack. Fight to death with a loud bang. Blood dripped from the tip of the scythe. Jack's voice of pain came out. My old friend. It's over. The body of the Emperor, who wanted to run wild, was lifted. The scythe of death completely cut him off. The Emperor trembled and said thank you. Jack became even more silent. He vaguely remembered. That simple and kind Nicholas. The flaming scythe slices through the air. Directly shredded the body of the Arm King. The undead left legion has successfully cleared the level. In a flame, the names of the old birds that contributed the most were recorded. The commander of the undead legion is completely dead. Never. Resurrection Dragon faction morale decreased. The distribution of the left flank of the undead will change dramatically. The vampires began to fear. The Stone Lion Ghost Clan began to fear. And the adult also began to pay attention to the old bird. Under a series of system prompts, the Blood Fox also dried up completely. Quest rewards begin to settle. Dirt Cat went from 65 to 69. Einjing also rose from 63 to 65. Even Li Yuyang rose from 75 to 77. Rank aside, Li Yuyang now has 13 superb characteristics. It is definitely the top of the first echelon of the Supreme God. Just when everyone was in rejoicing, only Jack sadly picked up the debris on the ground. Nicholas, my friend, you can go with confidence. I will finish what we agreed. In addition to experience rewards, Li Yuyang also received a second heart. This is an S-rank item, since King Bai cannot be resurrected. Therefore, it is also a prop for the Supreme God to be a first class. Can assist the owner. Obtain the properties of the excess heart. Li Yuyang excitedly held up the glass bottle. You can see the difficulty of the Red Arm King strategy. How buggy is the feature of extra hearts. Dirt Cat and Einjing were also in shock. If Li Yuyang also has 2 hearts, after that in the copy, wouldn't it be okay to wave it casually? But the time is not yet ripe. I'm still waiting for that thing to come. Right now, the sky suddenly darkened. The entire room was enveloped in strange energy. Several people hurriedly looked up. A huge tree appears on the ceiling. This thing has just appeared. Jack tightened his grip on the scythe. Damn Oz, you're finally here. But Oz ignored him. Instead, he looked at Li Yuyang. Did you kill the left legion? Are you interested in joining my camp? The kingdom can give you more power. Quest completion bar for the undead left legion. Accept the invitation of the one. Pay attention if refused. Will cause him unhappiness. This task was only received by Li Yuyang. Others didn't get the hint. Look at the two buttons of accept and reject. Li Yuyang didn't even think about it. I had to make a choice directly. Dergmeo spoke to persuade. Li Yuyang has completed the hidden mission. Welcome, my left legion. You will be honored for your decision today. Stay until us disappears. Li Yuyang took a crisp bite disdainfully. As far as he meows, he knows Pue Lao Tzu. You're giving benefits. Dirk Cat is also puzzled. Don't you advocate neutrality? How could you join the Undead Legion? Li Yuyang said helplessly. Us that guy is very mean. If refused, we're all going to die. Most importantly, he needs this special title. Only the Undead Left Legion commander is obtained. To be able to use the extra heart. Suddenly, Li Yuyang remembered Jack. This guy who doesn't share the same sky with us. I really couldn't help but not make a move. Forget it, the next target is the Dark Knight. Let's go straight to the road. Meanwhile, the dimly lit edge of the city. A girl in a hat is humming a song. Towards home. He's the one who almost is. Players who ruined the entire game's development team. Game ID Kim Jin-so has just returned to his rented apartment. Behind Xiaoer. Suddenly, a man's voice came. Where have you been? Why are you only coming back now? I saw it in my living room. A stranger was staring at him. And this man is not a fuel-efficient lamp either. It's the bottom of the bridge that caused the chaos. Meet this murderer. Xiaoer couldn't help swallowing and foaming. I've heard that you've also participated in the game cover. So the person you're looking for is my mom. Jodia, who had a squinting expression in the last second, suddenly went berserk. A sharp dagger against the neck of the gold needle. Although we are also old acquaintances in the game. But he meows and is close to Lao Tzu. If you don't cooperate, I wouldn't mind sending another one away. Jean Needle Embroidery smiled slightly. You think the same as me. So, do you want Mr. Killer to follow me? Meanwhile, Ein Jing has received a new skin. It was given by the Angelic Patriarch. Lost the home of the Isle of Sky. Li Yuyang put. The surviving Angel clan was arranged in the military merchant region. However, Ein Jing has become the person who benefits the most. Chicken strife areas and other unknown thorn towers. It's the lair of the young legion leader of the undead. Since King Bai is Ironikov, then the identity of the Dark Knight is easy to guess. Hear this. Jack fell silent as well. Richard, he was the son of the Lion King of the nation of man. This kid has a father, a strong physical body and an upright character, and his force value is very high. But Jack had already come to his senses. Even in the face of former companions, he will never show mercy. Li Yuyang couldn't help but smile a little. For this copy, he worked all night on the strategy. Some details of the previous life are all summed up. So he's absolutely confident. You can lead your teammates to successfully clear the Thorn Tower. But that being said, Li Yuyang was still ready for the unexpected. Because of the butterfly effect, the copy of his current experience and his past life are not finished. It's all the same, but the general approach doesn't get too outrageous. It's just a difference in intensity. Just entered the first floor. Ian had already activated himself when he entered the holy sanctuary. Dirk Cat stares to the left. Jack is in charge of the central position. And Li Yuyang himself. He had already changed into a full set of equipment from King Madong. The fire suppression on the right side will be handed over to me. A violent explosion rang out. For tower passages are opened. Under the watchful eye of the King of Horses. The corpses of a large number of monsters appeared in front of everyone. The first layer has apparently become purgatory. He's aiming at more pants. It's no wonder that someone else robbed it. This wave of old birds was almost blown up. The monsters on the first floor were shattered by the bombardment. It's like there's been a war here. Suddenly an ogre on the ground. The corpse caught Li Yuyang's attention. Ogres are also dark monsters. But they weren't supposed to be in the pyramid. And there are also sea beast types in the corpses. This simply doesn't make sense. Li Yuyang gently hugged him. Who the hell's still in my plan? Lao Tzu must send him into the spring. Right now. A tree flute sounded in my ears. Li Yuyang hurriedly raised his head and looked behind him. The voice came from overhead. Could it be that guy is here? Didn't have time to explain too much. Li Yuyang hurriedly ran towards the second floor. If you remember correctly, he is the only one who is good at using flute equipment. The third floor of the temple tower is still full of corpses. This is true until the sixth floor. Come to the top center. Li Yuyang was shocked. Looked at the huge body frozen in ice. They even skipped over the difficult chieftains. Headed for the final boss. Li Yuyang's back molars crunched. Where the hell did that guy get the information? How would they know the setting of the temple tower? Suddenly, the ground in front of him shattered. The sky was full of smoke and dust. Jodia waved her hand impatiently. Things have changed. Let's get out of here first. But his companion in the distance remained standstill. Jodia quickened her pace angrily. If you don't want to die, run away. Lao Tzu didn't have the time to take care of other people. The voice did not fall. The handle of the morning blade had already struck up. It's still a familiar recipe. It's still a familiar feel. Lao Tzu really didn't guess wrong. It's Jodia, the murderer. Dry. He seems to have a special way of obtaining information. Right now, a footstep came from behind him. Wait until the gold needle embroidery to see the situation clearly. He froze in place. Old bird, why are you here? Who knew that the old bird asked? As a former member of the squad. How can you mess with a murderer? This sentence aroused the disgust of Jin Jinxiu. If I remember correctly, let's meet for the first time. Only then did the old bird react. It was King Ma Dong who fought with Jin Jinxiu. It really has nothing to do with his old bird. Right now, Dirtcat and Einjing also caught up. The Halal show immediately recognized the identity of the Dirtcat. This PV1 talent is here. Stay until you get to the border. They saw Jodia on her knees. That kid's posture is too standard. Cod is more skilled than Chui Gung's little dada. Anyway, though, for the time being, there are no contradictions between the two sides that cannot be resolved. Hurry up and get out of the way. Let's get out of here. Mended. Li Yuyang clasped his nose in front of him. You just haven't fought the darkness. In fact, it will be so embarrassing. These two parts will help you go in Zeiji. If you want to see it, you can continue to think about it. There are no particular weaknesses. It can only be done with hard steel. Judging by the numerical values of these two people, if you were prepared, you wouldn't end up like this. It was between the two of them who were at a stalemate. Suddenly there was a huge light behind him. An armored figure gradually appeared. The flowers embroidered with gold needles are discolored. I couldn't help but exclaim. And Jack's eyes widened. I only heard the dull roar of the lion approaching. A powerful aura enveloped everyone in an instant. Wait until you see the boss's appearance. Li Yuyang instantly became uncalm. The Dark Knight is still the Dark Knight. But this guy's state. Something doesn't look right. Stay closer. Li Yuyang discovered the clue. On the Dark Knight. It seems that something else is attached. This smell of familiarity evoked Li Yuyang's memories. It's the shapeshifter that escaped in the first place. Because of Li Yuyang's negligence, caused that guy to kill quite a few players. When traveling solves this problem, it was Jodia in front of him who stopped him. Jodia, who suddenly fell unconscious, woke up. In a trance, he saw the old bird. What the hell is going on? How did you kid end up here? The old bird didn't answer Jodia's question. Xiaosheng reminds his teammates to get ready for battle. We're going to do a big one. And on the other side, two players also walked out behind the golden needle. They are the orcs and the humans of the little quacks. This hilarious scene. Li Yuyang's eyes widened. Wait until you look closely, only to find out that these two people are from the Mad Dog team. Because all of them have switched races. That's why there was a change in appearance. Seeing the old bird know itself so well, The gold needle embroidery couldn't help but leave a cold sweat. Kill me. This dead pervert is secretly investigating himself. Seeing the axe getting closer and closer, Li Yuyang didn't even move a finger. There was a loud bang. Sharp axe ruthlessly cut on Li Yuyang's face. But what shocked Xiao Gaga? His attack didn't hurt in the slightest. This is the passive effect of the excess heart. He can do non-fatal injuries directly and without incident. Just waved his hand to repel Little Quack. The other guy also launched a meat bullet blast. But not waiting for him to spin, Li Yuyang clasped his nostrils precisely. Then he threw it out with his left hand. Little Quack flew out like a cannonball. This scene looked stupid and engined. It makes sense of common sense. These two are also members of the professional team. How could Li Yuyang win? It's so easy. As everyone knows, after the version is updated, Li Yuyang gained several advanced traits. The training time has already left them 2.5 years ago. Squint again at the corpse at your feet. Until now, Li Yuyang finally understood. These are corpses that do not belong to the Thorn Tower. All brought by Jodia. His skills allow him to manipulate wild monsters. It was the same at the awards ceremony. Hear this. Jodia just smiled faintly and didn't explain much. And the guy who has possessed the Dark Knight. You brought it too. Just as the two were chatting, the Dark Knight changes again. The black liquid on his body began to boil. Jialao bird. It's like fighting the Dark Knight for control. A huge explosion swept through the audience in an instant. The ground kept crumbling. Seeing that the battle has begun, Jodia sped up to get away. But the explosion behind him still didn't stop. The damn guy actually lost control. Let's discuss. This time, there will be a truce. How about waiting for the next time to divide the winners? But how could the old bird pass up such a good opportunity? If it's just dragged on, the darkness that gets out of control will kill you all. When the time comes, I will reap the power of the fisherman. Better than Dr. Jodia was also taken by these despicable words. Angry, collapsed on the spot. You're a celebrity. How can it be so shameless? The old bird suddenly turned his head. He found himself ignoring a huge hidden danger. Large, frozen monsters are slowly waking up. With the continuous clicking, Li Yuyang is getting more and more square. But with the ice completely gone, a giant bug appeared in midair. Toothy breath stared at Li Yuyang, who was closest to him. The original foreshadowing of his meow is waiting here. No wonder they didn't kill the boss and died. Such as insect level, S-class. With darkness, high-speed regeneration, and other characteristics. It is 44 meters long. There are wolves in front and tigers in the back. The crime was suddenly reversed. The corners of Jodia's mouth curled. I want to be a fisherman. You'll have to ask him if he's going to say yes. The huge insect body swooped down. Li Yuyang was smashed and could only dodge sideways. Even the gold needlework was affected by the explosion, since the space of the pyramid is not large. Death. The giant body of the worm is constantly crashing against the wall. He regarded Li Yuyang as his worst enemy. The entire floor was shattered by this bug. Ian Jing and Dirk the cat. You can only dodge to the other side. Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted, Dirk cat. Take care of Ian Jing. You distance yourself first. As soon as the words fell, Li Yuyang found a foothold. The top priority is to preserve the strength first. There must be no attrition. Jodia also calmly landed beside him. The more chaotic the form, the better it is for you. Let's see how this kid is going to deal with it. Meanwhile, Dirk Cat and Ian. Shizuya has found a safe place. But they were completely divided. Old Bird and Jodia fell to the side of the Dark Knight. And on the other side, it's death. Such as bugs and Dirk Cats. What crazy things will be done? Expedited. The Dark Knight has become the host of the blackened Old Bird. After a lifetime of huge explosions, the Old Bird is once again separated from his teammates. Quiet, Dirk Cat, and Jack fell into a huge pit. Just when a few people were thinking about how to get out of the predicament, suddenly, A woman's voice came from behind him. A good girl is not suitable for playing with wisdom. I advise you to go and have fun. Suddenly, the ground shook again. Huge worms with their mouths wide open rushed straight towards a few people. There was a loud bang. Dirt Cat takes Ian and attacks. But the next second, Death is like an insect, a spring-like slender body, constantly colliding on the wall. After several bounces, the guy took aim at the Dirt Cat again, rushed straight at him. Why did he meow on us? Dirt Cat jumped, dodged the attack again. Looks like a dead worm, but he never burrows into the ground. What the hell is this thing doing? Right now, Einjing couldn't help but speak, much like a game of Arkanoid. And we are the target. Einjing's brain spun wildly. Old bird before entering the dungeon. Actually, this boss was mentioned. Seeing Death bouncing faster and faster like an insect, Einjing began to try to empathize. If Li Yuyang is on the scene, what would he do? Suddenly, a flash of inspiration flashed through Einjing's mind. He hurriedly called out to Dirt Cat. I have an idea to give it a try. Would you like to help me? Dirk nodded hurriedly. The situation now. Only a dead horse can be used as a live horse doctor. Right now. Kim Jinso walked over with 2 of his men. Looks like you found a way to crack it. Let's work together. Don't wait for the Dirt Cat to say no. Einjing nodded decisively. One more person, more power. We are now grasshoppers in a boat. Kim Jinso also showed a kind smile. The 2 girls hit it off. The next attack of Death is also close at hand. The little quacks did as Einjing told. Huge stone slabs were lifted to successfully repel Death like a worm. Angle is crucial. Everything was thought of in such a short time. You're a genius. Listen to Kim Jinso's compliments. Ian Jing had a shy expression. The roar was getting closer. Ian Jing hurriedly spoke. The horns are 45 degrees ready for impact. Dirt Cat hands Gary. The little quacks also roared and raised their hands. There was a loud bang. There was a loud clatter of stones, followed by Death rolled like a worm and crashed into other places. Very well done. Next time, increase the angle by another 5 degrees. Dirt Cats can reduce their strength a little. In the next second, a huge impact came in an instant. Death is like a worm flying again by a stone. According to Einjing's calculations. Sure enough, he crashed into the broken stone wall. Watch the boss fly away from the super upper space. Several people were all stunned, and they did. According to the layout of the space inside the tower, Death is like a worm that will fall into an infinite loop. There's no way to threaten everyone. Gold Needle Embroidery clapped his hands, constantly expressed his gratitude to Einjing. What a math genius. You've done a great job. But the voice did not fall. Little Quack had already launched an attack on the Dirt Cat. Ian looked behind him with concern. I saw Dirk the cat standing there unscathed. He had long been prepared for a sneak attack. A bunch of unscrupulous trash fish. Li Yuyang really didn't say it wrong. You deserve testicles. But a remote class plus A. How are you going to fight us? With the corners of the mouth embroidered with gold needles, it lifted. 1 share. A dark aura began to emanate from his body. Dirk Cat hurriedly stepped forward. Ian quickly stepped back. This is the Dark Invasion ability. Unexpectedly, Ian Jing's face was still calm. Do you really want to do your part? We've just helped you. As a programmer with no bottom line, Kim Jinso doesn't care so much. The one who survives to the end is the winner. Just wait for your death. Hear this. Ian Jing slightly nodded at the corners of his mouth. It was you who were unkind. Don't blame me for being unjust. As soon as the words fell, Death in what should have been a dilemma tower was like a worm. Unexpectedly appeared behind the gold needle embroidery again. Don't give this bad woman a chance to react at all. The red light came in an instant. The mouth of the great abyss rushed down. With a piercing boom sounded. Xiao Gaga's completely offline order takeout. Youth Xiu's face was full of shock. How could the speed of such a worm be so fast? What the hell did you do? I've said it a long time ago. It's all in my calculations. just when the building above collapsed. Jing made a note of all the implementations. According to these memories, Jing, in a very short time, a precise orbital decision was made. Kim Jin-so's face was full of shock. You calculated it right from the start. Let us be sacrificed. Kind-hearted Ian snorted softly. Do you really think? Are we working with you sincerely? Looking at Ein's harmless expression, Kim Jin-so couldn't hold back the damn guy at all. You're going to pay the price. But with the spirit show shouted the curse that broke the throat. The jaws of death like worms strike again. The other side. Dark discrimination in the face of terror. Li Yuyang and Jodia were in embarrassment. Neither dared to make the first move. After all, the three sides are opposed. Whoever moves first loses first. Actually, Jodia's original intention. It's to let the blackened old bird control the dark night. Then kill them yourself and be the last fisherman. But things seriously exceeded expectations. No way. Let's not work together once. After all, killing the boss is the most important thing. But Coco didn't wait for the old bird's reply. Wait until Jodia turns her head. There is still the shadow of an old bird. Just been here. In the blink of an eye, it was gone. Where did that kid go? At this point, Jodia was completely panicked. Alone. It's impossible to beat the Dark Knight. Suddenly, Jodia remembered Li Yuyang's cloak. That piece of equipment, if you remember it correctly, have the ability to hide yourself. Damn bastard. Lao Tzu will never let you go. Right now. The Dark Knight let out a terrifying roar. It was as if he was suffering greatly. The next second, the Dark Knight's massive claws had caught. The overbearing force forced Jodia to retreat. It's just too bad. There's nowhere to hide. The dark spellbook shimmers. Countless skeleton warriors appeared in front of Jodia. He had no choice but to launch a counteroffensive. But this move, it also made the darkness fall into a complete storm in time. In a fit of rage, the old bird in the corner looked at it all with a smile. In this world, there are only Lao Tzu pit others. And he meows, no one can pit Lao Tzu. The mud skill has a subtle function. Can reduce your presence by 50%. Jodia herself plays the dark summoning genre. The most feared is the boss, who is also a dark attribute. There's a good show to watch now. The doctor's screams came from the mouth of the gold needle. Death like a worm moves faster and faster. He was about to lose his bearings. In fact, Death like a worm is a special level. This one is very similar to a game of Arkanoid. The more times the player dodges, the more rewards you will get in the end, the more. Over time, though, Death like a worm will also hit faster and faster. Just get hit once by a worm. The difficulty of the game will be reduced. But if you are hit, you will die. This meow is simply incomprehensible. Suddenly, like an insect, it began to shake its body. Countless viscous liquids fell from the sky. Little Quack couldn't dodge and was splashed. His body began to melt. The liquid is like a strong acid. Sent Little Quack straight back to the spring. See this scene. The smoke mirror was completely stunned. Thankfully, they were there to reset the speed of the worm. Otherwise, it may be yourself who is melted. Dirk Cat looked at everything in front of him in shock. Hang the others turned to look at Jing beside him. Don't. Did you plan these things from the beginning? Jing smiled slightly. This question was not answered. The gold needle embroidery is still struggling to support. But the worm moves too fast. There was simply no room for him to resist. Stinky bitch waits for the old lady. There was a loud bang. Red body. The body smashed directly into the position where the gold needle embroidery was standing. Under the force of a huge impact, only a complete mage cap remained in the gold needle embroidery. Floated down. Death is still moving at a rapid pace. After 896 hits, the body of the worm finally penetrated the stone tower. Out of the orbit of the collision. Generally speaking, 448 collisions were the first round. 896 is the collision limit. So Jing counted all the tracks. Only then did the gold needle embroidery enter his own calculations. Right now, The sound of stones cracking behind him sounded. Unexpectedly, the first little Gada who was hit did not die. No matter how you say it. He was also once a mad dog, the team's top pro tank. So it's normal to withstand an impact without dying. A bunch of garbage. Do you really think you can destroy me? Einjing suddenly felt a chill rush up. This guy is aiming for himself. He was on guard as soon as he could. But Little Quack's rage value has reached the top. He yelled and rushed over. Dirk Cat hurriedly took out his weapon, because he knows it very well. With Einjing's agility, there's no time to dodge. Just when the Dirk Cat was ready to help, I saw that Einjing's body exuded fear, terrifying momentum. The violent fist gauntlet shone with 4 eyes. Right now, the huge fat man had come to Einjing. The right fist is raised in the air. The high amount of attack power is already in place. There was a loud bang. When the fist is in close contact with the body, a huge shock wave began to spread. The whole room is shrouded in it. Dirk Cat looked at it all with a smile. I almost forgot. Our pastor is a violent nurse. Shield Demon Horn level A+ provides 4,444 attack damage. The Shield Demon's left and right punches provide 8,888 attack damage. It's just one of these 3 attacks. This gives Einjing 13,332 attack damage. Even the top tank of the Supreme God. I can't eat a frontal punch at all. Seeing the damage he caused was so horrific. Einjing herself was stunned. He just relied on instinct to throw a punch. How could it be so violent? And where did the fat man go? Dirk couldn't help but give a thumbs up. His body has long been beaten into scum by you. I guess I'm adding some takeout now. Listen to Zian. Ian was in a cold sweat. Am I really that scary? I'm just a wet nurse. How can you talk about the location of the output? Solved 3 people who died like worms and Kim Jin-so. Dirk Cat and Ian Jing hurriedly headed. The other side rushed. Face both the Dark Knight and Jodia. Old birds can be dangerous. Suddenly, the distant scene made the Dirk Cat stop. I saw a cloud of ashes. A figure was choked by the neck. Jodia's fierce smile appeared in front of everyone. This scene completely blinded the Dirk Cat. The invincible old bird actually lost. Li Yuyang stared down in disbelief. Why don't you follow the script? Just a few minutes ago, Jodia summons an army of monsters. A fierce battle with the Dark Knight. Dark magic condenses in the palm of your hand. Jodia laughed and activated the skill. No squeak resounded throughout the audience. The black blade slammed into the Dark Knight's body. Look closely. Actual calendar. Rin didn't deal any damage to the boss at all. Jyosha hurriedly raised the horn. Melodious melodies resounded in the room. Countless undead monsters rose again. Unexpectedly, a huge ball of meat was condensed in mid-air. This is a wall made of stones and bones. Jodia didn't plan to fight to the end at all. He quickly turned around and was about to flee from here. But the next second, the Dark Knight had come before him. Jodia had no choice but to pull out the magic book. The game hell is launched. Waves of magic erupted, flooded the Dark Knight again. Under the scorching flames of darkness, the boss really stood still, but with a roar. All flames were dispersed. The Dark Knight remained unscathed. Jodia was completely blinded. The necromantic beast really had no effect on this guy. Such a loud bang. Jodia's body is completely frozen through. Blood seemed to be cut off. Jodia's HP bottomed out in an instant. Damn old birds. Every time you meet him, nothing good happens. After swearing, Jodia bowed her head. Utterly dead at the hands of the Dark Knight. Looks like it's coming. Li Yuyang immediately jumped out. That's what a fool should do. With the wailing blade ruthlessly, the harsh metal collision of Huaxia's life came over. The Dark Knight raised his hand sharply. Knocked Li Yuyang out. No see for so long. You're getting more and more promising. Li Yuyang's idea is simple. Just hang on the passive of the Morning Blade. Rely on other skills to stall for time. Until the Dark Knight died of bloodshed. But what Li Yuyang didn't expect was that This guy in a hurry can be so violent. A violent explosion sounded on the ground. Li Yuyang hurriedly looked over. Countless shots from the top of the boss's head. This guy's casual blow can cause a wide explosion. Lao Tzu has no room to play at all. Li Yuyang gritted his teeth and continued to run. Pull hatred all the time. He also didn't have a chance to use the play dead skill. Li Yuyang was just about to adjust his head. Suddenly, there was a chill at the top. He didn't have time to think about it and hurriedly retreated to dodge. The next second, it exploded countless times in his original position. Li Yuyang raised his head. Dodge attacks as much as possible. But this guy is endless. It turns out that it's been releasing ranged skills. And it's just right for each release. Li Yuyang gritted his teeth angrily. Damn the dog. I've only played against me twice. I mastered my fighting habits. Li Yuyang took out the life potion. No matter how unsolvable the boss is, there is always his weakness. Lao Tzu is playing against the wind. The next second, the Dark Knight had come before him. Sharp claws thrust down, smashed on Li Yuyang's stomach. Die to Lao Tzu. Li Yuyang's back teeth are about to be crushed until the damage is fully unleashed. He activated the anti-armor skill. Under the action of the heart of the rebel, the Dark Knight's damage is fully bounced back. The red blade completely envelopes this boss. The class isn't over yet. Launched by the bloodthirsty, the surrounding blood began to condense towards Li Yuyang. More blood erupted from the Dark Knight's body. It doesn't feel good to be drawn alive. Lao Tzu wants you to become a mummy. Just when Li Yuyang thought he was stable, the Dark Knight suddenly lifted the corners of his mouth. He was mocking himself. By the time Li Yuyang noticed that something was wrong, it was already too late. The ground suddenly burst into spikes. The tip of the edge directly froze through Li Yuyang. The damage of this blow was enormous. Li Yuyang, who was directly beaten, lost the ability to resist. Most importantly, the blackened old bird completely predicted Li Yuyang's movements. I've been waiting for myself to activate the anti-armor effect for a long time. This kid is so fucking perverted. In the end, Li Yuyang was pierced by the standing claw. The whole person can only hang in the air, and there is nothing to do. Moz was really careless, since it's only an enhanced version of the Dark Knight, and ignores the cunning and treacherous of the blackened old bird. Death is drawing nearer. Li Yuyang's screen gradually became gray. A clicking sound rang out in the room. Li Yuyang's palm moved again. He grabbed Coco sharply. Hard claws. It was broken by him with his bare hands. It's an unbeatable power. The next second, the big red footprints are on the boss's face. A powerful force pushed the Dark Knight away. At the same time, Li Yuyang was given a safe distance. At the moment when HP drops to 0, Li Yuyang really entered the combat state. Actually, I've been getting this feature for a long time. This is the first time I have used it. I thank you so much. Li Yuyang's volatile form. This is a trait that comes with the title of the Eight-Legged King's first killer. Not completely metamorphosis mode. The Eight-Legged King on the floating island has 2 morph effects. Each transformation gains a huge boost. And the same is true of Li Yuyang at this time. His combat effectiveness skyrocketed by more than 10 times. But in this state, the system panels are all starting to blink nonstop. Even the video recording function cannot be turned on. Time limit 100 seconds. The battle officially began. Look at the tips for decreasing HP. Li Yuyang's heart cleared. If there is no means of recovery, he couldn't even make it up for 100 seconds. It's just an S+ little thing. Let's do it quickly. Gently apply pressure under your feet. Li Yuyang had already come to the Dark Knight. With the swing of his arms, a strong follow-up swept in. The red figure is like a storm. Slam it down on the Dark Knight. Li Yuyang's speed has completely crushed the boss. He was like a red ghost. Launched a crazy blow to the boss. The Morning Blade had just been inserted into the body. The Dark Knight wanted to turn and fight back. But Li Yuyang had already come behind him again. Even my afterimage can't catch it. You kid better wash and sleep. The full set of the King of Horses has been switched. After dozens of blows, the Dark Knight even wanted to fight back. Li Yuyang easily dodged a move. Then he charged a punch, slammed into the side of the Dark Knight. The massive burst fist completely engulfs the Dark Knight. Actually, Li Yuyang. The current total stats are not necessarily higher than those of the Dark Knight. After all, he is the top boss of the S family. But it's not about panel strength in combat. The world's martial arts are only fast and unbreakable. Li Yuyang has completely crushed the boss in agility. The next second, he turned into an afterimage again. A 360-degree massage of the boss was carried out. Wave currents and earthquakes are launched at the same time. The Dark Knight was completely engulfed in flames. The whirlwind is still waving. Li Yuyang no longer felt the existence of weight. In his consciousness, the punch of each punch is very refreshing. Even if you wear the full set, there will still be no barrier. Is that the horror of Berserk mode? 40 seconds have passed. Li Yuyang's blood volume is still decreasing. He swung his fist again and rushed forward. The blazing flames kept jumping. The Dark Knight has lost all of his resistance. I can only let my fists fall on my body. Right now, there are cracks all over the gloves of the King of Horses. Equipment durability is about to run out. Li Yuyang took a deep breath. It's time to end the fight. Wang Ming's voice resounded throughout the audience. Li Yuyang, incarnated as a demon, lunged straight at the Dark Knight. Death is at hand. The blackened old bird suddenly spoke. You don't seem to belong in this world. This sentence made Li Yuyang suddenly stunned in place. Could it be that this kid knows something? But the next second, the poisonous dog suddenly raised its head. He's just a bullshit zombie. What are you pretending to be with Lao Tzu here? The full set of the Horse King is once again in the ashes. Slammed into the Dark Knight's abdomen. A computer guy actually wants to defy the sky. That's the end for you, kid. As the snail continues to coalesce, huge flames filled the old bird's fist. The next second, he carried an incomparable force, completely blasted the Dark Knight to slag. Suddenly, a man's drama student came beside him. It's really hard for you. Wait until Li Yuyang turns his head. A dark spell struck him directly. Li Yuyang, whose blood volume is already unhealthy, collapsed to the ground weakly. Aren't you guys dead? Why is it still here? Jodia smiled. Only you will play dead. Lao Tzu also wants to sit in Anna. As she spoke, Jodia took a step. Walk comfortably between the two. Darkness is the last punch by Li Yuyang. Half of his body was shattered, and Li Yuyang himself also fell into a state of severe injury and ice death. Since the last time you won, I prepared a life-saving skill. I didn't expect to use it so quickly. Jodia pulled out the Dark King's diary. Li Yuyang came back to his senses at this time. This tale S-class equipment. Other magic can be recorded. In Jodia, it is the resurrection of the dark attribute. In previous battles, he turned himself into an undead. Although after the resurrection, costs 2 of all stats. But it's compared to 1 more life. Jodia simply makes a spicy one. And stats that are forcibly lowered are also not permanent. The Lord is blessed by the dark sacrifice. Attributes are also recoverable. Feel the tears coming from the palms of your hands. Li Yuyang completely lost the power to resist. Jodia emerged as the winner. It turns out that dogs are also a science. No wonder you like being the 6th so much. The Black Knight stared angrily ahead. He also didn't want to be someone else's wedding dress. And the old bird is even more unwilling. So much preparation was done. Or was the fruit picked by someone else? Lao Tzu was famous, and the means were exhausted. Was taken advantage of by another 6th child. Looks like you know a lot of things. You must have caused the cataclysm. Since the last meeting, Jodia has been keeping an eye on the old birds. Closed beta is known only to a few people, and apparently the old bird is one of them. What exactly is your true identity? Why is so much intelligence known? Listen to Jodia's question. Li Yuyang's shock grew. But he no longer had the strength to speak. The whole person is hovering on the brink of death. Seeing that the old bird couldn't answer, Jodia smiled. I almost forgot that your kid was going to die. Then forget it this time. See you next time. I'm going to dig up more secrets from you. Feel the strength on the next stalk getting stronger. Li Yuyang tried to clench his fists. But the second gear time is over. He went completely into a state of weakness. The black blade spawned in front of Li Yuyang. There was a loud bang. Burst of blood. A cold light fell from the sky. Jodia's hands must be need on stage. Jack's figure appeared just in time. Rescued Li Yuyang. The other side's reinforcements came so quickly. What the hell is that woman doing with gold needlework? Li Yuyang's body is out of control. Fall towards the ground. And Jodia's mentality has also completely exploded. Lao Tzu is only one step away from success. You damn NPC. But it was the afterimage of the scythe of death that answered him. The huge blade of the sword slashed at his body in an instant. Dirtcat and Einjing have also rushed over. Thankfully, they arrived in time. Otherwise, the old bird really has to hang. The healing technique is initiated. Li Yuyang's blood bar began to slowly recover. This is the first time I have seen such a messy old bird. Even the dirt cat was stunned in place. Jodia struck the checks hard with her armor. But his left arm was gone. It is clear that the ability to fight back has been lost. According to the rules of the Most High God, NPCs should not interfere in battles between players. What the hell is going on with this pumpkin head? The red short blade appears in Jodia's hand. He was going to die before he died. Harvest the Dark Knight's handbrake. Seeing the short blade getting closer, the old bird in the distance couldn't help but shout, "Hurry up and stop him. Otherwise, our efforts will be in vain." The distance is getting closer. Jodia couldn't help but smile. Even if you don't kill the old bird, just get the hand kill reward. This wave is also won by Lao Tzu. But the next second, the Dark Knight suddenly began to struggle. The black substance on his body was constantly wriggling. There was a loud bang. Jodia was penetrated by her brother's probing of a similar thoroughness. The blackened old bird even has the strength to release its skills. Lao Tzu was careless. Seeing the situation turn around, the old bird couldn't help but stop. Looks like his previous attack had only seriously injured the Dark Knight. It's not a blackened old bird. The iron claws of this iron are pressed on the top of his head. The Dark Knight slammed hard, plucked the blackened old bird out of his head. The process is obviously painful. Screams of encouragement echoed throughout the room. Einjing was so frightened that she ripped her head off. Is this guy crazy? Even Dirk's eyes widened. There is even this method to get rid of the parasite. There was a loud click. The Dark Knight's head was completely ripped off. A cloud of black matter begins to roll on the ground. The blackened old bird wants to run. Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted to hurry up. Dirk Cat hurriedly raised his hand. New Jin shot out at breakneck speed. The blackened old bird is constantly turning direction on the ground. This guy turned out to be perfect. Dodged all attacks. I saw that the entrance of the cave was getting closer and closer. The blackened old bird let out a hearty laugh again. All for me to remember. I'll be back. The bleeding continues. Li Yuyang fell to the ground weakly. Yin Jing didn't dare to stop. Re-release therapy. But the old bird was very aggrieved in his heart. Such a good opportunity actually let him run again. See you next time. I don't know how strong that kid will be. Jodia collapsed to the ground silently. The Dark Knight was completely silent. Restore to full health, old birds. Stand in front of the Dark Knight again. Anyway, their goal was accomplished. But the old bird still couldn't be happy. Too many of my secrets have been exposed. Jodia's kid must have had his sights on him. Come to think of it. Li Yuyang turned his head to look at Jack. Why are you helping me? If you remember correctly, you can't get involved in battles between players. Jack was silent for a moment. Only then did he slowly explain. There's a voice asking me to help you. Hear this answer. Li Yuyang fell into confusion again. Strange sounds again. Who's behind it? Since you saved me, then give up the Dark Knight to you. Jack hurriedly thanked him. Without hesitation, Jinzo raised his scythe. Brilliant blades cut through the Dark Knight. Jack whispered, "My old friend, go with peace of mind. I'll help you get revenge." There was a youthful smile in the flames, saying a silent goodbye to Jack. Congratulations on getting the Dark Knight handbrake. First killer. Names will be recorded. The commander of the Right Legion of the Undead is dead. He will not be resurrected again. That person has taken a great interest in you. See this reminder. Li Yuyang hurriedly raised his head, waiting for the final boss to come. Just a moment. The sky is once again huge. The tree is enough to destroy the world with a micropressure. Descend in the room. My new Legion commander. Why are you doing this? If you don't give me a reasonable explanation, you're going to pay for it. Li Yuyang listened expressionlessly. The menacing eyes narrowed. Come to me right away. I look forward to meeting you. The next second the boss disappears. Li Yuyang breathed a sigh of relief. My guess was correct. There's no way that guy is going to crusade against himself personally. But we don't have a choice. You can only go to Oz for a decisive battle. Suddenly, something floated down in the sky. The three of them hurriedly approached. This is a picture depicting the nature of an intricate pattern. An official document from that one. Level unknown. Sudden book type. A study book issued by the Oz Legion. What is documented above is shocking. The lion's cloak rises in the wind. Li Yuyang received a new class of S-class equipment. Lion's cloak. Agility is increased by 5,000. 50% increased movement speed. It has indestructible properties. This is an extremely strong piece of defensive equipment. And he also received the title of Commander of the Undead Legion. Although the blackened old bird was not killed. Such a great reward. Made Li Yuyang also scream that he hit the horse. Knocked out like a worm cloak. Nature is all about quiet. There is this piece of equipment. It can greatly enhance the survivability of the wet nurse. For dirt cats, of course, only the most valuable experience rewards are available. Currently, the dirt cat has reached a level of 71. There are also 68 smoke diameters. The old bird even reached a terrifying 80. Directly monopolized the top 3 in the rankings. It is more than the 4th dozens of episodes. Look at the red cloak. The old bird took out the dying potion. Red doesn't go well with you. Let me decorate it for you. With the dye dripping onto the cloak. Brilliant colors envelop Ian Jean in time. But in terms of preciousness, in the hands of Li Yuyang, that's what matters. The power of immortality and so on. Possess the abilities of the undead. This is the secret weapon to defeat the Undead Legion. As long as there is it, we have hope of winning. It was the appearance of Jodia. It caused the confusion of Dirt Cat. How can that kid always get ahead of us? Could it be that he has been following us? Isn't Oz's message unique to you? Li Yuyang smiled slightly, but this is not the case. Oz's message is secretive though. But that kid participated in the game book. The new version of the information he should play clearly. And Li Yuyang has already figured it out. In a past life, the first kill of the gold mine boss was obtained by Jodia. He also gained a lot of wealth as a result. Strictly speaking, it was the old bird of this life who went before Jodia. Got the reward that should have belonged to them. That's why Jodia hates old birds so much. Even tried his best to kill Li Yuyang. But Li Yuyang also has a fat in his heart. Jodia in a previous life. But a fierce man who fell into a single kill. If you let him know where he lives. Find yourself in reality. How to deal with it yourself. Do you want to compete with murderers with bayonets? In reality, I don't have immortal skills. Come to think of it. Li Yuyang couldn't help it. His tone was in the face of a ruthless man like Jodia. The pressure is too much. In the next second, Li Yuyang raised his fist high. No matter what. Jodia is dead. The death penalty is 4 days of not being able to log into the game. Take advantage of these 4 days. Lao Tzu wants to completely surpass that guy. For days. Lao Tzu wants to completely crush Jodia. Seeing that Li Yuyang mentioned the battle again, Dirk couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. This is the old bird I know. All the way. He's a genius with no doubts. Regardless of the outcome, though, Dirk doesn't care what he pursues. It's the joy of being with the old birds. But Dirk Cat also had a faint guess in his heart. Old birds may not be ordinary people. Blazing flames filled the air. This is Area 55. Death along the coast. It is also the end of the undead region. Li Yuyang stared down with a smile on his face. It won't take long. He'll be the first. The man who conquered the undead. Suddenly, the voice of the Dirk Cat came from behind him. Is this the place where the dragon proudly lives? Seeing Li Yuyang nodding, Dirk's smile froze. Because in his field of vision, it's all a bunch of low-level little quacks. They have scales on their bodies. The grade is clearly low. It's not connected to Oz at all. The lizard folk were unaware of the invasion of outsiders. They mine and sell for money as usual. Peaceful life in the middle of the city. This may be a mecca for second-century players, but it doesn't look like it's dangerous. Jack said suddenly. I can already smell him. The guy was very close to us. This sentence aroused Ying's curiosity. He quickly sniffled and approached. I can't smell anything. Actually, this area. It is indeed an upgrade area for novice players. After walking out of the Newbie village, players need to complete mining missions here. Then go up to level 20. But no one knows. It's just under this lava. Hidden is an S that is enough to kill a level 90 player. Expedited boss. If Li Yuyang didn't travel through memory, maybe I'll really be deceived by Oz. Because of the lizard men in town, all deliberately summoned by Oz. They live peacefully on the ground. It's just to paralyze everyone. Li Yuyang drew on the ground with a morning blade. In fact, this area is divided into 4 floors. It's like a dungeon. In general, the monsters living on each floor are different. And Oz of the S family is in the 4th area. This group. The role of the lizard men is also different from what you think. You'll get the idea later. As Li Yuyang's words fell, the whole field trembled. All the lizard folk were drawn to their gaze. There are also foreign invaders. The group of little quacks all gathered together. They turned to look at the group of orcs. This group of little quacks are all novice players. They're here to do the novice quest. But he was exposed by Li Yuyang. A fierce battle is about to begin. Seeing the lizard men go more and more orcs. The little quacks couldn't help it. They yelled and ran towards each other. And the brave who started it. But he took the popcorn and watched this show quietly. Hunting knives kill people are in line with the image of Lao 6. In fact, this is also an update of the new version. Bring players of different races into battle. Whether it's a lizard man or an orc. It's all made up of real players. The lizard folk are tasked with mining. Orcs are tasked with interrupting the lizard men. Mining this battle is inevitable. Li Yuyang had known this information for a long time. He just made the islands and lakes. And whether it's orcs killing lizard men, or the lizard men killing the orcs, can earn a lot of experience rewards. There is no communication in the same language. There is no burden on the little quacks to kill each other. At this point, Otter's third furnace was completely in disarray. Li Yuyang and Dirk Cat to the deep outdoors. With a smile on his face, he watched the novices fight. The time has come. It's time for you to go. With Li Yuyang spoke. Jack hurriedly followed. The battle continued. And on the mountain peaks in the distance, Li Yuyang and Jack are climbing rapidly. Right now, a voice came from overhead. A strange-looking person appeared in front of everyone. This is the effect of a plus grade 1000 faced ring. Can make Li Yuyang become the image of any race. The little quack stopped fighting. He looked up at Li Yuyang. This guy actually knows how to talk and pretend to be granted. He shouted in quick succession in 2 languages. Attention everyone. Please look here. In the next second, Li Yuyang's mouth shone brightly. A great light came overhead. Horsepower combustion starts. Just be illuminated by this light. The body will slowly petrify. As the irradiation lasts longer and longer, Countless little quacks reacted. They were attacked. And it's a large-scale, indiscriminate attack. But it was too late to wake up. It's getting quieter and quieter below. The corners of Li Yuyang's mouth couldn't help but lift. This is an enhanced version of mana burning. It is dozens of times more powerful than before. Now you should be quiet. But Li Yuyang couldn't think of it. There was a group of small quacks who were not irradiated. Seeing that they had already rushed up, Li Yuyang had no choice but to take out his weapon. In an instant, a golden light flashed. The two little quacks were instantly killed. At the same time, he shot at the West Counselor and the show worshippers. Which side the hell is this guy on? Seeing that there is no one to stop him, Li Yuyang looked up and shouted, "Jack, hurry up." The next second, the pumpkin head jumps out quickly. The sharp sword light slashed down. Cracks suddenly appeared in the hard rock wall. The magma-filled mountains began to tremble. The entire mountain peak was cut off. The blazing breath suddenly spread. Li Yuyang hurriedly retreated and ran quickly. It's about to burst gold. The magma can no longer hold up. It flowed down the cracks. When you see a volcano, it's about to erupt. The surviving little quacks turned around in fright and fled. But the ones who were petrified, not so lucky. They were directly engulfed in magma. Little Quack, who was slow to escape, was also devoured. Look around. A corner of the flaming mountain is missing. Endless lava is surging. It was as if the energy that destroyed the world was spurted out. Li Yuyang looked at all this with a smile. He was very pleased with his masterpiece. The plan has been successful. They have opened the entrance to the next level, and it solved all the Western doctors and orcs. In order not to waste, Li Yuyang even put on a murder mask. Each person killed permanently increases attack damage. This wave has made a lot of money. The speeches continued to flow. The entire area has become a river of rocks. The third furnace of high AOZ has been destroyed. Wait until the lava cools. Li Yuyang walked down with everyone. Dirk Cat looked at everything in disbelief. If there is no Li Yuyang, who would have thought that the entrance would open like this? A huge round hole was revealed in the ground. This is the next level of passage in the death zone. The furnace destruction that he had noticed. Oz's anger is growing. Looks like he cares a lot about his smeltery. The breath of hatred is getting closer. Jack's murderous intent is even stronger. It's time to drive for more. Several people jump down. Run quickly towards the depths of your brother. Now that the beam has been squeezed down, then let's take the initiative to kill them. After a period of darkness, Ian opened his eyes in silence. They came to a strange space. This is where Jack was born. Oz's second furnace. Rely on red-hot magma and puppets with unstable branches. Oz can have a very stable production of minerals, and those puppets who are exploited, all of them are of the Czech kind. But a scarecrow without awakening is unconscious. Not even Jack could wake them up. Suddenly, my brother began to tremble. A shrill voice came from the depths. You're just a slave just like them. It's just that you're lucky. I'm right. With Li Yuyang's gaze. Huge monsters are building in the dark of the mines.
Is this guy the guard of the second layer? The huge furnace is still working. And the monster on the body. There was a piercing click. It's like there's no life. I kept repeating what I had just said. Li Yuyang quietly looked at this strange boss. Do you know him? Jack spoke slowly. He was my mother. Also the production machine for all puppets. Suddenly the boss seems to sense something. His eyes suddenly focused on Jack. The huge body stretched out. Puppet Queen rank S Trade Dark Summon. Height 3 meters. It was as if Jack had been immobilized. The whole person was stunned. And the Puppet Queen exuded a monstrous resentment. It's not because you and I have been abandoned. Because of your betrayal. Rossi fell from the sky, smashed the Puppet Queen unconscious. He took Jack, who had the fragments of the volcano. Wait until the Puppet Queen wakes up. The entire crucible was in shambles. Every time I think of that day, The puppet queen's anger could not be suppressed. He sees Jack as a thief, regarded as a betrayer. It's because of him. That's what the puppet queen has become. If caught you, I can regain the approval of Lord Oz. It can't be restored to its original appearance. Seeing the boss chattering, Li Yuyang went up and went around. He couldn't finish his sights. Li Yuyang never thought of it. I also have a talent for brainwashing people. The flames of the Horse King's full set instantly shattered. This scene blinded Jack. Shouldn't he be allowed to finish his sentence? It's also too violent. With Li Yuyang's fierce force, the 3-meter boss was directly knocked out. Huge dark clouds rang out beneath our feet. The ground was swept over by a great force. Jack didn't have to hesitate any longer. When he can say these words, "He is not worthy to be your mother. Do you think I'm right? Look at the broken scarecrow lying on the ground." Jack finally figured it out. He took out the scythe again. The battle on the body has also re-emerged. The puppet queen crawls out of the pit. His mouth let out a strange laugh again. But Jack was unmoved. Since choosing to go against Oz, then you have to accept the behavior of the lady-in-waiting. This realization made Li Yuyang have to praise. It's really a die-hard fan of Lao Tzu. The scythe of death swept quickly, smashed directly on the puppet queen's body. Jack didn't hesitate. Sharp sickle. Knives slammed into his mother one after another. A series of blows caught the S-class boss off guard. He could only let out a feeble wail. I didn't even hit a decent counterattack. If I were a thief and a waste. So, what are you? Is it Oz's dog? Seeing the boss being pressed, Li Yuyang couldn't help laughing, although he has an S rank. However, in the case of melee combat, it's not a match for Gadgejack at all. The puppet queen seems to have been blinded. There was a constant piercing wail from his mouth. The next second, his fur began to applaud. Countless arms extended from his body. Summoning skill activated. There are more and more new Scarecrow legions. This is a group of Pegasis fighting monsters. They are 2 meters, 5 meters tall. Has Halloween and veteran traits. Seeing that the other party is going to fight in groups, Li Yuyang rushed up with the Dirt Cat. That's why he's considered an S-class. Continue with the original plan. And the puppet queen was dumbfounded. Could it be that the goal of this group of people is their own master? But Jack didn't give him more time to think. The huge scythe swept in again. The sharp light of the knife blocked all his retreats. Surrounded by dozens of puppets, Dirt calmly took out his weapon. 2 Liana jets at the same time. Flames suddenly spread on the ground. A loud bang picked up Li Yuyang. Powerful power. Dozens of puppeteers were shattered in an instant. There's movement over here. It also caught the attention of the puppet queen. He hurriedly ordered his puppets. Let them all gather in front of them. Don't struggle anymore. I know your weaknesses. Li Yuyang pointed to the furnace in the distance. He was taken care of by our wet nurse. As soon as the words fell, a pair of slender fists fell from the sky. Clean and delicate body. Burst out with unmistakable power. This momentum exploded completely. Let the huge furnace rattle with a piercing click. The puppet queen was completely shocked. His voice suddenly became sharp. It's like being stepped on by a fox's tail. This is where the vision lies. Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted that he had done a good job. Give him another punch. Ian Jing smiled slightly when he received the signal. Rest assured, I'll leave this thing to me. Now the puppet queen couldn't sit still at all. Rongwu is his life. Even if you die, you have to keep Rongwu safe. There was a loud bang. Violent explosion again. Devoured dozens of scarecrows. A relentless ring pierces the sky. Bagaji's monsters simply aren't enough to see. It's not even an appetizer in the hands of a dirt cat. Lianu squirted again. The next second, there was a violent explosion. The terrifying heat wave set off tens of meters high. Countless scarecrow vests entered. Yi Jing raised her fist again. Up to 13,000 attack damage is ready. The puppet queen was just about to come to the rescue. The scythe of terror has slipped down. stopped him in his tracks. The die is cast. The S-class boss is also powerless to return to the sky, and the whirlwind is condensed. A huge namelessness resounded throughout the room. In the power of Ian Net Terror, the furnace finally couldn't hold it anymore. The outer walls began to crumble inch by inch. See this scene? The Puppet Queen's tomb is about to crack. And Li Yuyang, who was already waiting next to him, pick up Einjing moments before the furnace exploded. They got out of the blast in time. The second furnace has been damaged. The rumbling sound kept coming. The violent explosion engulfed countless scarecrows. But it was over. Our mission is over. Furnace 2 was destroyed. A violent explosion rang out inside the dungeon. A large number of puppets were destroyed. Dirtcat also took the opportunity to output. Countless things shot at the little quacks. The Puppet Queen let out a scream of pain. Because his mission is to guard the forge furnace. Right now, sharp sides fell from the sky. Jack didn't stay behind. I came directly to my mother for a cesarean section. Oz is right in front of you. Don't get in the way of our revenge. The Puppet Queen's body begins to crumble. But he was not reconciled. The huge head was unexpectedly free from the restraints of the body. Flew into the distance. But how could Li Yuyang let him escape? The morning blade glows. An arc appeared in midair. He's aiming at this guy too fast. Li Yuyang's hands slipped for a while. Didn't directly solve the boss. The burning furnace caused a volcanic eruption. And the Puppet Queen, it was actually running towards the blazing Rhone River. Although I don't want to wake up that guy. But in order to complete Lord Oz's mission, let you die. As the Puppet Queen throws herself into the furnace, the whole space began to tremble. Dirk's face was full of shock. Only Li Yuyang knew what was going on. There is a secret passage underneath the furnace. The guy has already escaped. It's so damning. If left alone, it's definitely going to be a big hassle in the future. Inside the dark passages, the Puppet Queen has arrived in a special space. Now, she has lost her puppet body. It's been a mess for a long time. He didn't want to look like that to meet Master Oz. Right now, there was a cacophony in the darkness. An indifferent voice fell from the sky. Lu Rin Warrior, you go get rid of them. Oz's 2 molten weapons has ceased to function. Secret passages have appeared. Several people entered the next floor together. It looks very clean, very different from the atmosphere above. And look at this architectural style. It's like a cage. Right now, the clatter sounded again. Li Yuyang just turned his head. A huge tail sticks out of the darkness. That majestic body and powerful appearance. It's a formidable opponent to look like. Lurin Warrior rank S trait dragon minions. Darkness regenerates at high speed. 2 meters tall. Unlike the Puppet Queen. It's a genuine S flag. And just look at appearances. The strength of this guy is definitely not low. Right now, the Puppet Queen's voice rang out. Don't bother Lord Oz. You're all going to die here. Li Yuyang looked ahead in a daze. The Lu People Warrior is indeed picked. To the last mini-boss in Oz. But it's different from the memory of the previous life. This guy's original strategy difficulty. It should be higher than the darkness. He's the prince of the dragons. It is also an extremely powerful existence of the dragon race. Until the rich torturer appears. He's one of the toughest bosses to overcome. But now it seems, why is he only 2 meters? It's a lot different from the legend. Ah! The ground suddenly exploded. The Dragon Man warrior waved his arm slightly. The furious energy runs directly through the entire walk. Gallery Jack was the quickest to react. He's already behind the boss. The scarlet scythe slashes down on the boss. A piercing crash was heard. Jack was thrown straight away. Didn't wait for Li Yuyang to come forward to help. The light of the subtitles is already lit up ahead. Such a massive explosion. Fari Yuyang is also confused. Normally, strength should be proportional to volume. How could this 2-meter guy be so strong? Dirk the Cat and Ian compete. An incredulous expression was revealed. Because of the powerful A+ level NPC, Jack was hit to the point of collapse. The commonness of exaggeration is still spreading. The strength of the warriors of the Wang Ming dragons. It exceeded everyone's expectations. Yuyang also showed a solemn expression. Height is lowered. However, the attack power has not diminished in the slightest. It deserves to be one of the most difficult bosses to attack. But this battle is inevitable. Only by defeating him can you succeed in meeting Oz. Cheer up, everyone. The team fight has officially begun. Cruel Jack lay motionless on the ground. He still couldn't believe what he was seeing. At the moment of the fight, Jack sees the true face of the Dragon Man warrior. It was a familiar face. Come to think of it, Jack's body began to tremble. 3 words slowly came out of his mouth to Rossi. Is it you, a small quack of only 2 meters? But it hit the effect of 20 meters. This dragon warrior detective Meow Ox Fork. The pumpkin head was cut off with an arrow. Without the help of this advanced NPC, this team battle is not easy to fight. Attackers shot as fast as they could. Dirk Cat stretched the firepower to the limit this wave, but dense inside. However, it cannot deal any damage to the dragon warriors. This scene stunned Li Yuyang. The Dragon Knight's defense is really perverted enough. Suddenly, a sword light came from in front of him. Tremendous energy completely shattered the ground. Li Yuyang hurriedly retreated. Just waved his arm slightly. Can create such a huge power. Dirkbag couldn't help but look worried. But Li Yuyang, who changed his equipment. Defense has also reached a terrifying value. Normal attacks don't do any damage at all. See this scene? The dragon warrior narrowed his eyes slightly. In the next second, the powerful sword blade squirted out again. This time there were dozens of them. However, Li Yuyang was prepared. He kept flashing his body. Coco Cat also hurried, dodged powerful attacks. But what they didn't expect was that the strange sword aura seemed to be able to aim automatically. They were directly surrounded. A violent lute sound resounded over them. Einjing hurriedly activated the angel to bless. The healing light of warm blood directly enveloped the 2 of them. Seeing that the blood volume is recovering rapidly, Dirk Cat had a serious expression on his face. If you remember correctly, I've just dodged it. Is there a chance that his attack will be hit? Right now. The Dragon Knight suddenly raised his head. A piercing dragon roar erupted from his mouth. Immediately afterward, a huge fireball quickly condensed. This is an S-class Longshi. Didn't wait for Li Yuyang to make a move. A sacred passport appeared in front of the 2 of them. Longshi has already smashed his passport hard. Li Yuyang smiled until he vented. It's not the same if you have an assist. Longshi contains highly toxic substances. Even if it is out of the range of Longshi, it will also be enveloped in poison gas. Luckily, I had Einjing's passport. Otherwise, they will definitely be slandered this time. If Jack were still alive, maybe it's not that hard to fight. But even so, Li Yuyang also has a post-sale. He smiled and pulled out a prop, Immortal Power. This was obtained from the Dark Knight. The material is also a good thing of unknown grade. But only Li Yuyang understands. This thing is the key to conquering the dragon warriors. Goose spoke. Li Yuyang raised a round ball again. The essence of reversal. And so polar. This is also the material that Li Yuyang prepared in advance. It is precisely to cope with the situation at hand. This little thing looks inconspicuous. However, he can reverse the properties of any item. What do you think the antonym of the near future is? Hear this question? Dirk was slightly stunned for a moment. Then he reflected. Is it closed? As soon as the words fell, Li Yuyang activated the prop effect. With the essence and immortality merging, a huge glow filled the room. And the Dragon Knight seemed to realize something. His body also burst out with powerful energy. This dark force rises into the sky. As if to extinguish this firmament, Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted to help me by a minute. Hear this familiar arrangement. Dirkmo didn't hesitate. Yinjing also hurriedly nodded in agreement. In the next second, the Dragon Knight had already pounced. Rich aroma quickly covers. However, not waiting for the dirt cat to make a move, a figure suddenly flashed in the sky. Huge pumpkin heads fall from the sky. The sharp scythe collided straight into the dragon knife. Listen to the cacophony of rubbing. Li Yuyang's face showed joy. Jack wasn't even dead. Well done. Help me hold him down. Wang Mingxing continued. It takes some time for the two items to fuse. Just wait for the immortal power to be successfully transformed. It's the death of the Dragon Knight. The sword hindered the Dragon Knight's attack. Jack softly called out Daraci's name. However, these words stunned Li Yuyang. Daraci was the captain of the rebellion against Oz. How did he become a minion of Oz? Even Dirt Cat and Ein Jing forgot to attack. But Daraci didn't react at all. Cracked the scythe. Then he kicked Jack's body violently. Was kicked directly out of dozens of meters away. See this scene? Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted. You're sure he's Darazama? But Jack seemed to be enchanted. The puppet kept muttering to himself. Puppet Queen, what did you do to Daraci? As soon as the words fell, an eyeball parasitic on the chest of a dragon warrior. Suddenly it flashed. Wu Guiwei was a former companion. Did you notice it so quickly? Daraci at the beginning, alone in Furnace 2, and trampled the puppet queen under his feet. But alas, he still lost in the end. Got a definite answer. Jack's body began to tremble. Bastard stuff. You're damned. Without waiting for Jack to attack, Li Yuyang suddenly fell from the sky. At the moment when he charged, a reminder of the successful fusion of props pops up. The shining sword light struck again. Li Yuyang hurriedly leaned over to dodge the blade of the sword at the same time. He managed to get close to the boss. An evasion item that has been prepared for a long time. It was pressed the chest of the dragon warrior. With a loud click, the heavy armor of the dragon warriors began to crumble inch by inch. This is a very high priority material. Even an S-class boss can't bear it. With the armor peeling off, the true body of the dragon warrior is revealed. This scene stunned Li Yuyang. Even Dirt Cat and Ian Jing. He also showed a shocked expression. Only Jack's anger was more raging. Because of Daraci's body, it was also transformed into a puppet. A prop that fuses with the essence of immortality and reversal. It's called avoidance. And the armor on the dragon warriors has immortality. Attribute. So when two opposite materials come into contact, the difference is large. Volcano's armor of a dragon warrior. Directly crushed. But Daraci at this time, the renovation has already been completed. This form is what Li Yuyang is familiar with. He was also the strongest S-level dragon man in his previous life. Buick Angry Trumpet was born. Damn Oz. Damn the Puppet King. And the Puppet Queen writes hysterically. Because of the Berkamus armor, it was given by Oz 7 songs. It is also the work of Lord Oz. There was a loud click, for scythe arms appear from behind the boss. This is the final stage of the Dragon Man. Li Yuyang was excited and wanted to rush forward. But look at Jack behind him. Li Yuyang couldn't help but sigh secretly. The Most High God will not be Bin. The most popular game in the world. Even the emotions of the NPCs are so realistic. The Dirt Cat has attacked. Lianu covered again, without the protection of immortal armor. The boss's body has become more sensitive. He completely changed from a power boss to an agility type, and the single evil agility attribute. Li Yuyang is not afraid of anyone. Watch the frantic attacking dragon men. Li Yuyang's eyes couldn't help but become solemn. Judging by the backstory, Daraci is indeed a respectable NPC. But now that you've lost your soul, then let me help you out. The battle ahead is getting hotter, and Jack was stunned in place. Unlike other companions, Darasi is the master, Graham's savior and best friend. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Li Yuyang's mind. When I first attacked the ice throne, it was also Li Yuyang who was reminded by this voice. It's different from before. This time, even Jack heard the reminder. Want to kill the Dragon Man. The controls on his chest must be destroyed. Hear this. Li Yuyang hurriedly turned his head to look at Darasi's chest, covered with a special metal device. It was the puppet queen who had escaped before, but in 4 positions where the attack frequency is extremely high. I want it in front of you. It is also very difficult to destroy the device. Li Yuyang quietly waited for the opportunity. At the moment when the force came from it, Li Yuyang showed a triumphant smile. After a huge collision, the puppet queen suddenly noticed something unusual. The next second, the huge counter-impact completely surrounded the Dragon Man. It's just a little trick to carve insects. This force can't do me any harm at all. But she didn't wait for the puppet queen to continue roaring. Suddenly, a familiar figure fell from the sky. Jack the Pumpkinhead wields the giant company. Swooped down at 80 miles. It's just a blink of an eye. Jack had already stepped on the Dragon Man. The right hand was stretched out violently. Jack grabbed the parasitic puppet queen hard. As Jack's roar came out, the force on the fingers is increasing, and the Dragon Man reacts extremely quickly. For standing claws stabbed at Jack like phantoms. But Jack was unmoved. There was a loud click. The controls were pulled out by Jack with one hand. Look at the puppet queen's panicked eyes. Li Yuyang couldn't help laughing. And that's it. Jack, hurry up and get rid of him. But the voice came again. The battle is over. Don't wait for Li Yuyang's reaction. A mysterious person suddenly appeared in front of them. The moment he appeared, the whole space came to a standstill. Whether it's Dirk the Cat or Ian Jing, all of them lost control of their bodies. It seemed they couldn't see the mysterious man. Only Li Yuyang himself was not affected. Is this an Easter egg of the game? But I hadn't heard of it in my previous life. Look at Jack's immobilized body. It's gone back to the way it was. Darasi smiled. Do not worry. I'll go find you. Xuanji Darasi walked towards Li Yuyang. Until this moment, Li Yuyang finally calmed down. It turned out to be the introduction of the plot stage. Then give the Pumpkinhead a face. This time, Lao Tzu will not skip it. Li Yuyang couldn't have imagined it. An NPC was able to uncover his underwear. As the plot ends, Darasi suddenly smiled at Li Yuyang. Welcome, my new friend, or the regenerate. 3 words made Li Yuyang feel cold. Could it be that this is also the arrangement of game development? Seeing that Darasi was leaving, Li Yuyang hurriedly spoke. Why do you call me the Born Again? Aren't you an NPC? Hear this. Darasi's smile was even stronger. A huge Wang Ming appeared in the field. Time has returned to normal. The Dragonman's body was about to explode completely. Moment of truth. Jack hugged Li Yuyang at great speed. Einstein also carried the Dirt Cat and fled quickly. Only Li Yuyang does not update. Don't go. You haven't answered my question yet. But the next second, the mechanical body of the building man completely exploded. Huge flames directly flooded the entire area. This devastating force is enough to kill everyone. Luckily, I had Einjing's passport. Otherwise, they're all going to be blown up here. And Li Yuyang. But he still looked at the center of the explosion unwillingly. As the flame goes out, people are completely safe. But why did the Dragon Men bring such a powerful explosion? Dirk explained patiently. This is because of the Dragonman's self-destruct nature. Something like this boss. After death, there will be a violent explosion. These paintings should have been interpreted by Li Yuyang. But at this time, he was sitting on the ground with a dejected face. Jack, who had lost his friend, was understandably sad. But is Li Yuyang very familiar with Darasi? Why is this guy's expression so weird? At this time, Li Yuyang was still thinking about it. He wanted to confirm what the other person said. The one called Darasi. He did recognize his identity as a reborn. Speaking of which, Jodia also gave Li Yuyang this feeling. The big guy seems to have a certain grasp of it. Kind of special information. Could it be that he is also an appendage? Come to think of it, Li Yuyang couldn't help but sweat profusely. These things seem to be related. Maybe I touched something I shouldn't have touched. I think of my original self. It's just a poisonous dog that has strengthened and shattered its equipment. Why will it have a second time? A chance to do it all over again. The complexity of the matter completely confused Li Yuyang. He yelled on his 5 fingers, damn it. Who was behind it? But it doesn't matter. Things have come to this point. Lao Tzu said that he would not stop saying anything. Suddenly, Jack clenched the scythe in his hand. He had sensed the familiarity. What should have come is still coming. The opportunity for revenge is at hand. Li Yuyang also stared at the sky angrily. The next second, the air suddenly froze. The whole area was enveloped. Feel the pressure on your body. Dirt Cat couldn't help but remind. Be careful. Everyone. Oz is coming again. Li Yuyang couldn't help laughing. The final boss is finally coming. The sky turned gray. Oz's voice came from above his head again. Welcome to my territory. This is your last chance. Swear allegiance to me. Otherwise, you will all die. As soon as the words fell, a race invitation jumped out. Accept Oz's invitation. You will become a high-level dragon. If you refuse, Oz will attack you. Li Yuyang exhaled. He meowed. Lao Tzu came this time to kill Oz. Don't meow to shake Lao Tzu. As soon as the words fell, Li Yuyang poked his finger up. As the reject button lights up, the whole earth began to tremble. In the next second, Li Yuyang's expression became strange. After refusing, it seems that a decisive battle will begin. Should have stepped back a little further and clicked again, as if in response to his words. The emperor began to crumble completely. The intact land was simply shattered into countless pieces. Seeing that Einjing was about to fall, Dirt Cat shows up on time again, grabbed Einjing. Jack was unusually calm. He'd seen this kind of scene before. Li Yuyang laughed. Start jumping constantly. Other agility doesn't fall at all. It's really exciting. It's finally time to defeat that guy head-on. Name, Oz rank S+ Lord of Darkness. Black Dragon Monarch. King of all lions. With dozens of titles jumping out. A huge dragon head poked out of the darkness. This is Oz, one of the 7 great sovereigns, the Black Dragon King. The huge tree stared at Li Yuyang. Tiny human beings. You made the wrong choice. With the dragon groaning, came out. The Black Dragon King was completely revealed. This huge body. Looks like an S+ level. Li Yuyang jumped down without fear. If he doesn't say a word, he'll die. Faced with Li Yuyang's ridicule, the Black Dragon King didn't react at all. After all, God doesn't care about Ant Frenzy. It's the first time I've seen her. Such a huge monster. This thing, it doesn't look like it's something players can tackle. Even the Dirt Cat withstood a wide, open mouth. None of the monsters of the S family are easy to mess with. Only the Czech Republic is unusually calm. If you're going to get rid of this big guy once and for all, let Deraci's soul be at peace. As if he had just noticed Jack, Oz couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. I didn't think you were still alive. If you remember correctly, your friends have become my men. Why don't you think about being my dog? As soon as this remark came out, Pumpkinhead fell into an endless rage. He could never forgive the other party. Insulting your own friends. The roar resounded throughout the audience. Jack rushed forward desperately. It is not waiting for the sickle to fall. Huge red fell from the sky. Jack was like a broken sack. Was thrown down by the dragon's tail. For a while, the crackling sound was nonstop. Jack's body couldn't stop falling. Until a few seconds later, the younger brother calmed down. But Jack was long gone. Li Yuyang couldn't help but swallow his saliva. That's the Jack of Agaji. It's like a toy, and it's been solved by Oz. Right now, Oz looked at him with an indifferent gaze. A few human ants. Are you ready to die? You have entered the abyss. As the first entrant, your name will be recorded. Be the most powerful boss of the dragons. Oz could be Li Yuyang. Experience the most difficult copy. It is also a copy of the group with a very high depletion rate in the previous life. Look at the special metal that Oz is attached to. Dirk's mouth opened wide in shock. Could it be that before the furnace? Is it all to create this armor for Oz? Li Yuyang's expression also became solemn. If you remember correctly, Oz's defense is ridiculously high. Normal attacks can't break defenses at all. You're weird, aren't you? Why haven't I done it yet? Destroy your pack of ants. Actually, I'm curious. With your strength, why can they come to me called ants? Anjing thought it was normal. After all, under the size of a dragon, they are indeed like ants. OSS's eyes flickered suddenly. A seductive voice in Ian. Jing, earrings. Whatever you want, just throw yourself into my arms. I'll be able to satisfy you. Anjing's expression gradually became dull. He seemed to be bewitched by Oz's words. Suddenly, a loud roar sounded behind him. Anjing finally came back to her senses. Li Yuyang was clutching his arm tightly. Don't be fooled. That guy has demagoguery. Slaves of the ability mine. It was also Oz who lured him in this way. If Li Yuyang shot slower, perhaps Jing was about to die under her fist. This setting of the boss made Ian Jing unbelievable. A computer person, it is able to manipulate the player's body. Is this normal? In fact, Li Yuyang is very clear. This setting of the Most High God is very dangerous. Because of the game pod, it is connected to the player's nerves. If you don't grasp the degree, it is likely to affect the player's real life. So the Most High God is in the future. Removed this ability from Odd. But this mental interference, the prophecy in the team and the Dirk cat are invalid. Because they are in the deep sea area. Gained ancient creature resistances. 100% psycho immunity. To break Oz's mental attack, you have to let him take the initiative. Li Yuyang laughed and walked forward. Under Oz's gaze, Li Yuyang came directly in front of him. In fact, I don't think you can fulfill my wishes. On the contrary, I am the one who can grant your wishes. Hear Li Yuyang's words. A proud snort. An ant is trying to fulfill the dragon's wish. Are you kidding? Unexpectedly, the corners of Li Yuyang's mouth lifted slightly. As far as I know, you want to kill the leader of the demon clan. It's not Lao Tzu bragging. Only I can do that. And according to my calculations, you will soon be defeated by Satan of the demon clan. Strength is not worth mentioning at all for them. Oz's eyes narrowed. A battle plan with the demon clan. How did he know? Even the Dirk cat had a puzzled expression. Follow the system prompts. They were the first to reach the copy of Oz. So how did Li Yuyang know so much information? Stupid humans. You never knew how powerful I was. Hear this. Li Yuyang laughed even more bloodily. Are you strong? How I can't see it. You can remember that the Black Dragon King took the initiative to give up mental interference. The ground suddenly began to tremble. Owzy was finally angered by Li Yuyang's words. If you want to die so much, I wouldn't mind sending you to hell with my own hands. Seeing that Oz was about to go up, Li Yuyang once again increased his firepower. Isn't what Lao Tzu said wrong? Your artificial dragon scales are uncomfortable to use. And according to your dragon descriptions, you kid can't be defeated, right? This sentence directly shocked everyone. Oz didn't even know what to say. The reason why he let so many people mine for him, in order to make up for the gradual weakening of the body. All this is in Li Yuyang's plan. Wants to break Oz's mental interference. The first thing to do is to make Oz lose his mind. As a professional player who sprays alcohol, Lao Tzu was the first person to ridicule this part. The temperature of the entire cave began to rise. Oz's body began to narrow and closer. Li Yuyang still didn't stop talking. Countless tissues kept saying the words. Li Yuyang's condition is getting better and better. Don't think of yourself as an entree. In my eyes, you are just a stepping stone for Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is a man who wants to conquer the whole world. A whistling sound pierced the air. A huge dragon's tail descended from the sky. There was a loud bang. The whole ground began to crumble. The plan has succeeded. Li Yuyang ran into the distance with unfinished thoughts. Lao Tzu hasn't scolded him yet. How did you break the defense? However, they did not wait for them to distance themselves. Sharp scythes and whiskers descend from the sky. There was a loud bang. The huge shockwave was split in two. Jack was in the way of the three. Do not worry. I'll help you. Hear this. Os left Trinity. Just a puppet. Even dared to make a big statement. Only Li Yuyang knows. The Rush boss's strategy battle has officially begun. Everything is in place. What the hell are you meowing to fight me? Just before Li Yuyang was reborn, someone has long summed up the way to defeat Oz. That is to use fusion props to destroy the ground. At that time, the post was very popular. Oz's strategy battle also makes mystery for all advanced players. And avoiding is all that's key. But that thing had already been used by Li Yuyang in advance. And he didn't attack Oz himself. It's just a theoretical basis. After all, it's an Rush boss. Li Yuyang seems to be light on the surface. In fact, I was panicked in my heart, seeing that Li Yuyang fell into silence. An archer suddenly shot at him. Dirtcat is smiling. Don't be stunned. Hurry up and issue the command. Just like before. This sentence woke Li Yuyang up, right? Lao Tzu is not alone. Lao Tzu also has two lovely teammates. Li Yuyang was in a trance for a moment. Immediately lifted the spirit. He turned to Jack. You just said you want to help us. Can you follow my arrangement? Jack nodded slightly, of course, no problem. As long as you can kill Oz. Let me do whatever I want. Right now. In the distance, Oz had attacked again. The majestic dragon Creek descended from the sky. This attack range is simply outrageous. A few people could only keep retreating. Li Yuyang gritted his teeth angrily. It is worthy of being the boss of the S+ level. Attack with a casual dose can cause such a huge amount of lethality. The Holy Shield is activated. A ray of light shrouded the crowd. This skill is given to teammates. Additional shields and buff sticks. When facing enemies of the dark element, the shield value is greatly increased. And the Black Dragon King Oz is the embodiment of darkness. A streak of white pierced the air, heading towards Oz shrouded. Tiny silk threads from top to bottom. Tie up Oz whole. With the force of the silk thread, Oz was dragged backwards. Li Yuyang pulled desperately with an expressionless face. Now is the time. Jack, hurry up. Look at Li Yuyang's line of sight. Oz has a scale of different colors on his body. That's where physical attacks can work. Fruit place. It's also Oz's anti-aging. Jack's movements are fast. The sharp scythe slashed down, but with a violent metal collision. Jack was suddenly stunned, because his attack turned out to be ineffective. Anti-aging is still unscathed. Now Jack was completely furious. Couldn't Lao Tzu even solve a single scale? There was a loud bang. Jack broke out again. The scythe slammed into the dragon's scales, but the scales remained unchanged. Is this the terrible defense of the Rush boss? Even if Li Yuyang has done a good job of psychological fever rehabilitation. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but half cut the fire. Anti-aging is the second part of the strategy. Their operation is fine. It's just that the strength is a little worse. Click. There is an arc below the anti-aging. Jack uses the scythe as a warping point. It turned out to be a whole anti-aging. With Jack's fierce force, that particular scale finally moved. But with a roar, the scales were lifted up. See this scene? Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted with full firepower. All attack Oz's bare skin. Dirk yelled and hardened. Two Lianu excite at the same time. Countless swords flew in the sky. All of them shot towards the missing place of anti-aging. Meanwhile, Li Yuyang has also quietly approached. To kill the boss, you still have to hang him up with the bleeding passive first. Suddenly, Li Yuyang stopped. A dragon scale that has just been removed. It's back to normal, and even the color has become the same as other scales. Is this your plan? Can you use some force? I don't even feel pain. OSS seemed to be invincible in fear, hanging over the heads of the people. So for a lifetime, giant dragon claws pierced Jack's body. The ground was shattered. Jack was pressed to the ground and rubbed. There's no way to resist. Li Yuyang, who watched this scene, gritted his teeth. It's not that simple. It seems that the second plan can only be used, but not before he could get into action. OS's pupils began to glow. Stupid humans. Be my little brother. Suddenly, there was a sharp pain in the arm. Li Yuyang's body trembled uncontrollably. A shocking scene appeared in the next second. His arms had grown scales. It's the rhythm of turning into a lizard man. It's not just him. The right hand of the dirt cat has also changed. The sharp claws of the lizard were no longer able to grasp the attacker. Cute barbs grow from the ears. A tail appeared on Einjing's body. He was also influenced by Oz's skills. Don't wait until you're completely turned into lizards. I will treat you like my own son. The curse of the Dragon King follows the previous strategy. This skill appears in the second half of the battle. How did Oz get it out now? Could it be because I used closed faces too early? Form. The sharp turn has come to the brink of annihilation. As long as they turn into lizards, he completely lost the ability to resist. Li Yuyang smiled and stepped forward. Is this Meow forcing Lao Tzu to use whole cards? Meanwhile, Brother Deep, Oz's fingers pressed a large, deep hole. Jack's mangled body. It's lying there quietly. Right now, the familiar voice rang out again. I said I'd find you. Li Yuyang's body is like an ant crawling. More lizards began to appear on his skin as well. If you can't help but scratch the scales with your hands, we'll speed up the process of lizardization. Li Yuyang is well aware of this, so he can only stiffen. OSS on the side continued to stare at the humans. Don't resist anymore. Join me. Hear this. Li Yuyang was even more like a lightning strike. A different voice appeared in his head. It's nice to be a lizard man. In their own abilities, absolutely, can become the number one of the entire supreme gods. But the consequences of becoming a lizard man are also very serious. It is not only necessary to put aside the vest of King Ma Dong. Even many of the old bird's methods have to be restricted. Li Yuyang hung his hands on the ground. Death sustained him against his own will. Suddenly, the entire space is covered with a strong dragon branch. Li Yuyang completely fell into despair. It's good to be a dragon. At least you can mess with Lord OSS. When the time comes, you won't have to fight alone. See this scene? OSS smiled indifferently at the weak human. They even want to resist my will. Hurry up and surrender. Who cooks? A smile appeared on Yu Yang's face. I really think of myself. It's easy to get me to switch races. But let me give up the rewards of slaughtering dragons. Don't even think about it. Li Yuyang stood up with difficulty. He was waiting for an opportunity, a chance to turn the tables around. And at this moment, the dirt cat mind painting is more serious. The pupils of his eyes were already erected. Einjing didn't feel good either. He's already scratching his arm. Right now. That voice came out, I said. We'll meet again. Li Yuyang hurriedly raised his head. Is it finally here? You've kept me waiting for a long time. 15 minutes ago, Jack's body was smashed deep underground, just after he fell into a coma. A strange force descended from the sky. I don't know when. There was a strong energy wafting over the cave. Seeing that Li Yuyang has not instructed yet, Dirt Cat couldn't hold his breath. What about the old birds? Otherwise, let's give up. Don't wait for him to finish. Something like raindrops has fallen. Li Yuyang finally smiled. He meowed too late. Lao Tzu almost became the third sister-in-law. Oz was surprised. He also sensed a different aura. These raindrops seemed to have the power to restrain him. At the moment when the raindrops touched the scales, indestructible dragon scales, it began to turn into powder. For the first time, Owzy's eyes showed doubt. The top is a moment of time. The scales began to fall off in large chunks. Oz shook his wings. There was a loud roar. It's like being tortured. The Black Dragon King looked up at who was behind the scenes. Get out of here. The scales of the arms are gone. Li Yuyang also completely returned to his normal appearance. It's so timely. A little later, Lao Tzu is really going to mutate. Einjing's tail is gone. He was also restored to his human form. But Oz was miserable. 8 times strange rain watering. The entire dragon began to fall apart. Li Yuyang looked at OSS with a hungry face. Say you're defeated. You kids still don't believe it. Now we know who's the boss. OSS's anger had reached its extreme. What the hell did you guys do? Why can these rains restrain my longling? The loud sound of broken drums came to my ears. OSS's dragon tail descended from the sky. Bode 1 Li Yuyang took Yin Jing and hurriedly retreated. Oz without the dragon's tomb. It's still the top of the expedited one. Boss, however, the next second. Longling Polo's pain hindered Oz's offensive again. A huge roar resounded throughout the audience. Dumnumans. What exactly did you do? Just when Li Yuyang raised his hand to applaud, Dirk Cat couldn't help but ask, what the hell is going on? Why do his dragon's scales peel off? Hear this. Li Yuyang calmed down, although I'm not quite sure either. But it should have been Derassi's doing. Hear the name? Einjing and Dirk were all in shock. They didn't see Draz before. The scene where the West appears. So they don't know at all. Derassi is the one behind it. Li Yuyang silently thought about the strategy of his previous life. Stay in the Most High God. The planner places a lot of emphasis on the interaction between NPCs and players. Generally speaking, it will not appear at all. A quest that can never be cleared. So following Jack is the most crucial step. With the raindrops getting denser and denser, Oz's body was completely covered in a haze. He had fallen into a great weakness. And in the distance, on the Rongjiang Sea, a figure was watching from the sidelines. Einjing seemed to be aware of it, turning his head to look behind him. Isn't this Jack? Why did he appear there? And Jack at this time, the body is still broken, but the momentum of the whole person has changed. How many years? I finally waited for this day. Derassi, these are your credits. Suddenly, a huge dragon's mouth came to the face. Oz's dragonbrook squirted hard at Jack. The blazing flames directly covered the entire area. Li Yuyang hurriedly shouted, "Don't be tough. Hurry up and get out of the way." But the next second, in the red center of the full screen, a point of light is getting bigger and bigger. Jack seems to have turned into a whirlpool. Mighty Dragon Creek. It didn't make any difference to him. Jack, after the metamorphosis, it already has the strength of the S-Class. Slide your arm quickly. The sharp scythe directly shredded Long Shi. Jack approached the Black Dragon King at great speed. The scythe of death fell from the sky. The sharp light of the knife cut through the air. Jack attacks with extreme precision. Successfully hit Oz in the neck. The piercing sound of crumbling reached everyone's ears. Oz's massive body finally couldn't hold it anymore. And the reason why the pumpkin head can metamorphose, it's because of Oz's fury. Only suffer enough attacks. The pumpkin head has the possibility of transforming into an S-Class. This was also Li Yuyang's plan at the beginning. Let Pumpkinhead and Derassi be the main players in clearing the level. Because with the strength of Oz, it is impossible for 3 players at level 60 to clear the level. Li Yuyang clenched his fists excitedly. Pumpkinhead brothers, The two of us are so strong. According to the plot that Li Yuyang understands. In the explosion of the upper floor, Darasi, who is incarnated as a dragon warrior, doomed to death, and he blew himself up in place. It is located on the top of the cave. This strange burst of fish. It should be Darasi's last blessing. The girl with a cheerful smile. Even death is helping Jack. He's such an amazing man. The flames were burning violently. Jack has been completely reborn in the soul language. Rank S trait Dark Veteran. 1 Xingjia Jingua. The properties of the still fruit are very special. Possess the ability to respawn from the ashes. This is also the key to Jack's transformation into an S-class. Dirt Cats were also taken aback by this attribute. No wonder the old bird always carries it. It turns out that this is the hidden boss. The scythe radiates light. Pumpkin-headed Jack laughs strangely, "O thief. Your time of death has come." Picture Logan. He started like a cannonball. The cosmic blade is self-reliant, rubbing quickly along Oz's body. Then he slammed his hands hard. The death scythe slammed into OSS's body. The shrill sound resounded throughout the audience. Without the protection of special scales. Have you forgotten your weaknesses? Damn the guys. Oz's eyes were calm. The dragon calmly opened its mouth. The sparkling light quickly condenses. But don't wait for Nomshi to land. Crazy insight shot hard at him. Seeing his attack interrupted. Proudly and angrily looked down at the play. Great, number 0 piece protection. My bow and arrows are finally working. This discovery made the Dirt Cat extremely excited. Archers rely on the piercing attribute. And the Dirt Cat's favorite thing is to hit this kind of target. The Great Dispatch armor is burst by a weakened monster. The ring inspires again. A violent explosion rang out over Oz's body. Bang! Oz's massive body moved. He's just taking a step forward. It's already in front of Dirt Cat. An ant that only harasses. Dare to shoot at me. Longshi's squirting at this angle. Dirt Cats can't dodge at all. Jack was going to come to the aid as soon as possible. See this scene? Dirk shouted excitedly. You're finally going to do it yourself. Old Bird Jack also heard the voice. I saw a black shadow quickly streak by. The old bird actually surpassed Jack, standing in front of Dirk at great speed. The next second, the blazing dragons, I struck the cloak. The indestructible property of the cloak was also played to the extreme by Li Yuyang. Do you really think that Lao Tzu is just a strong king? The corners of Li Yuyang's mouth lifted slightly. The pupils suddenly begin to constrict. Anti-fake is activated. Such a powerful reflexive force. Hit directly on the arm of the proud word. The crisp sound of fractures resounded throughout the audience. Fanjia is AA that Li Yuyang worked hard to get. Upgraded equipment. This is an artifact comparable to the S-class. Followed by a healing light reflected on Li Yuyang's body. Yen Jing helped replenish her blood in time. I was stunned by this scene. Jack's man was so weird. How could he have such great power? Right now, there was a shrill, self-pulling sound coming from his body. Jack's abdomen was slowly crumbling. His body was a puppet made of straw. It simply can't be supported. Such a strong attack intensity. Even if they are reborn, they are still just puppets. Right now, Oz let out a piercing roar. The arm was snapped off by the sound. This elegant, dark dragon lord. I can no longer maintain a laid-back attitude. The two dragon horns suddenly began to flicker. The glow of the subtitles shines overhead. Oz suddenly began to move, with the blessing of two huge wings. The speed of the Black Dragon King was surprisingly fast. And there are also large-scale attacks. Falling from the sky. Li Yuyang moved left and right. This level of ranged attack is for him. There is no pressure at all. But the next second, an unusually thick light had fallen. There's no room to dodge in this area. A critical moment in life. Ainjing opened her passport again. The divine power collided with Longxi. On the other side was a fragment of Darasi. Jack hesitated. This is the last relic of Darasi. But in order to defeat Oz, Jack still pressed the shards. On their own wounds, the nameless student suddenly remembered. As if turning on some kind of stillness, Jack's body begins to accept the uprising. Fusion of ores. In the next second, the Dragon King's attack also fell. He was completely engulfed in the explosion. I watched as my feet completely turned into a sea of fire. Oz finally smiled heartily. It seems that I am the one who has the last laugh. An ant is an ant. However, the next second, let the scene of Ozkincher appear. A full-body paint. The old black bird appeared in front of him. The temperament of this human being has completely changed. Bang! Just a figure walked beside the old bird. Jack, who had an all-metal case, walked over. S-rank attack strength, plus the defense of special metals. At this moment, Jack already has an S. The strength of the top level. Oz finally sensed the threat. Who the hell are you? Why target me? The old bird grinned. Does the old thing still have whole cards? If not, then it's our turn. Jack and old bird go into action at the same time. This is the final step of the raiders. Slaughtered the weakened Oz with his own hands. Look at these two people. Dirk Cat showed a gritted tooth ring expression. It's so hateful. They all transformed. I really want to be with them. The next second, a violent explosion rang out in Oz's neck. Attacked in the same place. The skin on Oz's neck had begun to crumble. Then a flash of light flashed by. Li Yuyang is like a streamer, brushed across Oz's body. Now, this is the situation. But Li Yuyang carefully calculated. Only by destroying the scales can it be possible to kill Oz. Aiden thrust in again with a loud thud. Oz let out a violent wail again. This powerful black dragon king, completely reduced to the plaything of the old bird. Abominablomans. You all have to die. However, he did not wait for him to finish. Another heavy blow struck the dragon's head. Li Yuyang laughed and rushed over to warn. Blink of an eye. He came to the top of the Black Dragon King. Fists clenched violently. There was a loud bang. The earth was smashed to pieces. But looking at the calm gaze of the Black Dragon King, Li Yuyang showed a shocked expression. I don't understand that he reacts. A huge dragon's tail swept from the side. This season is aggressive in the early hours of the morning. Li Yuyang's body quickly fell from the sky. The next second, the Black Dragon King's native chicken has already arrived in front of him. Li Yuyang couldn't borrow his strength in midair. Can only be prepared to carry it hard with a cloak. Right now, a shot of insight fell from the sky. It's just a blink of an eye. Seeing is like a shooting star. Dense bombardment on Oz. Dirk grinned. Do you really think Lao Tzu is a little transparent? Fire support will be left to me. A Gaji Gonglu's second form opens. The massive weapon continues to spew out powerful insights. Einjing was not idle. The divine light was released from his hands. This power is entwined in the history of the sword that shoots out at a rapid pace. Sword history seems to have gained a second acceleration, and with the divine power burst out. So for a lifetime, a swordsman with great deeds directly penetrated the wings of the Black Dragon King. There is no special scale protection. Dirk's attack has finally taken effect. Sure enough, the nemesis of the dark attribute is the divine power. This kind of attack is the normal play of remote output. The fist radiates light. I don't know when. Li Yuyang was already standing on top of the Black Dragon King's head. The full set of kings was switched successfully. Li Yuyang gritted his teeth and smashed it down. Dare to look down on Lao Tzu. You don't know anything about Lao Tzu's output. There was a loud bang. Earthquakes and snails are launched at the same time. The blazing flames exploded directly above Oz's head. The surging flames erupted in an instant. The Black Dragon King's huge head was directly covered in flames. Under the continuous burning of the flames, Oz suffered a heavy blow. His body began to slowly fall to the ground. However, I don't wait for the Carp Ocean to breathe a sigh of relief. The Black Dragon King's laughter was heard in the bowl. It turns out that this is your whole card attack. It did make me feel pain, but that's about it. You remind me of that little spider on the west coast. Compared to him, your ability to transform is too naive. Wyverns tend to look up. Neck up. He supported himself with his wings and did not fall to the ground. Beakumans. It doesn't make sense for you to do this, because in front of the dragon, ants are ants after all. As he spoke, Oz opened his eyes. His wounds were healing rapidly. If I'm right, the effects of your transformation won't last long. Even if I stand still, can you kill me? Hear this. Li Yuyang's expression became serious. Oz was right. Their attacks appeared to be violent, but it didn't kill Oz completely. Even if Oz is devastated at this time, Li Yuyang can still feel the violent crisis. The effects of his transformation didn't last long. The grumbling continued to bleed. It's not as good as Oz's own recovery. Even Einjing was tired. His blue volume is running out anymore. Jack's body began to crumble. Nor is it permanent for the Rossi to give him strength. There are 10 seconds left at most. They have to be completely passive, seeing that the ants were no longer moving. Oz's laughter became even harsher. What's the matter? Keep attacking. I'm waiting to see you perform. Jack's anger rushed to the top of his head. He rushed forward desperately. Einjing also gritted her teeth and stood up. Dirk Cat became even more serious. Only Li Yuyang did not move with a black face. It was as if he had given up. With the countdown to 0, a mass erupted quickly. Li Yuyang's body reached its limit. The negative state of transformation also follows. His second form is over. But the next second, the corners of Li Yuyang's mouth lifted slightly. His heart began to glow. Do you really think I only have this whole card? You can't afford the old tricks. This scene has exceeded Owzy's expectations. He knew a lot about the little spider's abilities. You should not be able to move after the transformation effect ends. But how can this human continue to get stronger? Could it be that this kid is open? Take Oz's understanding of transformation. Once you have finished transforming, you will be unable to move. But how can the human beings in front of them not be affected? And that's exactly what Oz said. The negative state that comes with transformation. It can indeed make Li Yuyang incapacitated. But he had already prepared for everything. The Lich King's heart level is S rank. This is the first time Li Yuyang has used it. This special heart. It is also Li Yuyang who specializes in Oz. The secret weapon of preparation. Because already received the title of Commander of the Undead. The heart of the Lich King can be at the pole, far away, to help Li Yuyang. Just before entering this quest, Li Yuyang is in a novice village. Found a special place. In a huge wooden barrel, a large number of recovery potions are placed. As long as these potions don't run out, Li Yuyang will be able to pass. The heart is constantly getting blood and blue volume. This is Li Yuyang's backhand for Oz. See this scene? Dirk finally relaxed. Old bird, this guy is still as reliable as ever. Prepare those potions. They've spent thousands of dollars. Oz could no longer remain calm. The huge dragon claw quickly grabbed towards Li Yuyang. But Li Yuyang didn't choose to dodge. The moment the attack fell, severe pain also befell Li Yuyang. But he didn't care. After activating the second heart, Lao Tzu is Immortal's anti-fake effect trigger. The dragon's claws were shattered inch by the shock. Li Yuyang's smile was even stronger. Thanks to your men. That's what makes me so strong. See this scene? Jack froze in place. He could see it, whether it's the Lion King's cloak or the second heart. Not the ability of their own partners. It turns out that this man is talented, is the real protagonist. The swordsman sliced through the air, instantly froze through Oz's body. Countless explosions rang out on the roaring boss. The swordsman is like a cutting machine. Countless holes were left in the giant Oz. There's no special defensive armor. Dirt Cat this wave is considered to be a numb shot. That's what an archer should be. In the midst of the big laughter of the Dirt Cat, several arrows began to attack Oz's wings. The next second, the click of Zir resounded in Oz. No laughter suddenly came out. Jack rushed forward brandishing his scythe as well. The iniquities of those years. It's time to pay it back. Bang! OSS's claws slapped Jack. But what the Black Dragon King didn't expect was that Jack's strength is surprisingly great. His own claws were smashed to pieces. Li Yuyang also rushed over with a smile. Say you're the little rattle of the eyebrows. I don't believe it, but now I know it hurts. The sound kept ringing. Li Yuyang is like a worm. Constant cutting on OSS. Because I'm afraid of pain. I made a bunch of things to cover myself. You're the real coward. Since I am so afraid of death, Lao Tzu will fulfill you. Hearing this, Zienos's eyes became even colder. Did the weak ants really think they had won? The next second, his skin suddenly began to tremble. New scales grow again. Strong vitality. Let Oz's wounds heal quickly. Do it all. He still didn't stop shaking his body. Fragments of self-dispersing scales also jumped everywhere. See this scene? Li Yuyang was taken aback. He hurriedly shouted to hurry up and get out of the way. OSS's counterattack is coming. Jack also saw something unusual. Are those shattered scales his attack? However, the voice just fell. OSS is like a hair removal attack. Lots of stuff like that shot out of his body. A loud whistling sound resounded throughout the audience. Oz was completely reduced to the center of the explosion. Li Yuyang is constantly retreating. He also had a large number of scales shuttling around him. Damn Oz. Detective Meow will make trouble for Lao Tzu. Due to the large number of dense similar falls, the ground began to crumble. A flash of light quickly enveloped Jack's body, directly split in two. The hardness of the scales. It has surpassed the transformed Czech Republic. See this scene? Li Yuyang just wanted support. Not far away, another round of scales was fired. Li Yuyang hurriedly bent over. At the last moment, he blocked the fatal blow. And Dirk and Ian Jing hide the farthest. They could only run wild on the crumbling ground. OSS's attack had covered the entire cavern. There's no room to dodge at all. And Jing didn't use the blue amount of the Holy Shield. How are you going to hide this time? Look at Oz, who was roaring in the distance. Dirk couldn't help but speak. Now should be when the boss is at its most vulnerable. But we don't have the right means to attack. If there is a one-click attack, the attack power is strong. Something that can give Oz a fatal blow. Then the battle will be over once and for all. Come to think of it, Dirk looked at Ein Jing on the side. Since the nurse didn't stop it, just don't use it as a wet nurse. Dirk Cat excitedly shook Ein Jing's hands. It's a bit offensive to do that, though. But now only you can save us. What can Merland's wet nurse do? Pedestrian shells, of course. Look at the sincere eyes of the Dirk Cat. Ein Jing also calmed down, as long as you spoke. I will definitely do my best to help you. Meanwhile, Li Yuyang is still on the run. Shoot scales. The piece is as precious as his life. This may be the boss's last resort. As long as you can survive this wave of attacks, then victory is mine. But look at the dragon scales that are speeding at great speed. Li Yuyang couldn't help but worry. Wake up. Not all of them have the ability to dodge attacks. He's more worried about Dirk Cat and Ein Jing. However, the next second, a shocking image appeared. I saw Ein Jing raise his hands. But the Dirk Cat seems to have turned into a gun carriage. Remember what I say. You just have to do your best to hold the pose. With the roar of the Dirk Cat, it came. His hands began to pound violently. Ian Jing became a flesh bomb, thrown out by the Dirk Cat. Is this the correct way to use Meilan's nurse? Huge acceleration. Rushing into the sky with Ian Jing. Washouty still doesn't get used to it. But when I think about it, it's just the game world. Ian calmed down. The body is slightly bent. Place your left hand behind your back. The right hand was raised sharply. At the same moment, the full set also appeared on his body. The power of the big vaccine to shine brightly smashed the whirling scales. The smoke scene was calm, staring straight ahead of him. He is well aware of the full set of attack power, so no one can stop this punch. A huge shockwave is shot straight out. See this scene? Li Yuyang stayed where he was. Ian, quiet. You're serious. But at this moment, Jing had closed her eyes. He was waiting for his fist to hit the target. OSS was still roaring with his head up. A strange object was already flying on his side. There was a loud bang. Humanoid shells solemnly targeted. Fragile Oz, directly smashed out of a big hole. At this moment, the arrogant Dragon King finally lowered his head. Because of his neck, the terrier was blasted out of a big hole by the berserk force. The scale shooting also came to an abrupt halt at this moment. The air suddenly calmed down. Moment of truth. Jack, half of his body on paper, rushed out. Li Yuyang also has no taboos. The two of them are one left and one right. Cut hard at Oz's fragile neck. The huge black Dragon King finally stopped roaring. The corners of Li Yuyang's mouth lifted slightly. Lao Tzu, see how you recover this time. However, what everyone did not expect was this. The last scale. Whistling flew towards the dirt cat. Jing could see clearly in midair, but he didn't have time to make a move. Jack with only half of his body, but suddenly laughed. Russian, I finally did it. Congratulations on killing Oz, the Black Dragon King. Be the first person to clear a dungeon. Your name will be recorded. The scythe cuts through the air. Jack saves Dirk the cat at the last minute. See this scene? Li Yuyang couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there were no casualties. Otherwise, all the work done will be wasted. Your level has been increased except for 4 levels in a row. Yuyang also gained the bloodline ability of the Black Dragon King. Looking at the title, I don't know what it does. In a past life, Yuyang had never heard of this title either. There's also a piece of armor that is superb. Black Dragon King. 500% increased armor level S and dark resistance. 500% increased corruption resistance. Gain the dark counter skill. Gain a fatal death passive. The effects of dark counter and anti-armor coincide. However, it is different from the anti-armor. He also possesses the trait of the Morning Blade. Fatal death is a PvP skill. When killing a player, the other party will be punished twice. The course of the battle was difficult, but the rewards are also abundant. Li Yuyang was very satisfied with this. Dirt Cat also earned a 6th grade. Now it's 79, and Ian has been promoted to 7 levels. Reached level 77. In general, there is only one piece of equipment that is awarded, but the title is all of them. However, Dirt Cat and Ian Jean receive the title, but it's as different as Li Yu. Their title is Black Dragon Hunter. The effect is also very easy to understand. Damage is doubled against dragon enemies, calculated according to the output ratio. Jack is definitely number 1. He's an NPC though. Then the next thing is Li Yuyang. So it's normal for equipment to fall on him. But why is Lao Tzu's title not as good as yours? All in all, Li Yuyang is not numb, but as a real Li Peel. The old bird will never be satisfied. Look at the dragon scales scattered on the ground. The corners of Li Yuyang's mouth lifted slightly. It's something more precious than gold. Just get the auction. It will be robbed by major trade unions. The Lao Tzu team has funds in the account again. The 35-year-old man was 10 minutes ago. Still a young guy in his 20s. Li Yuyang looked at it with a frightened face. Self in the mirror. He couldn't believe it was all true. But what is unfolding in front of you is so real. Not even the furnishings of the house have changed. 15 minutes ago, they also celebrate their victory in the dungeon. Be the first player to kill the Black Dragon King. Li Yuyang obtained an S+ item, plus an unknown title. And then count the materials on Oz's body. This wave is simply making money. However, in the other corner of the battlefield, Jack being bombarded by an explosion. He was lying on the ground dying. See this scene? Several people hurried over. By this time, Jack had lost half of his body. He weakly asked, "Did we make it?" The corners of Li Yuyang's mouth lifted slightly. "Rest assured, we've succeeded." Oz could no longer wreak havoc on the land, although it is clear that Jack is just a computer person. But the mood of several people still couldn't help but be heavy. When it came down, Ainjing shed tears. The first encounter of several people. It's in the Dark City. At that time, Jack did not have the ability to awaken. But along the way, without the help of pumpkin heads, there was no way they could succeed in defeating Oz. Right now, a rustling sound came to my ears. The pumpkin head gradually began to crumble. Just a moment. His body was completely reduced to powder. Drift towards a cavern. Perhaps he has reunited with Darasi. Stay until everything is calm. Something resembling a bull's horn fell. Pieces of Jack, etc., i.e. an unknown metal implanted in Jack's body. It is also a source of energy for Jack. However, without waiting for Li Yuyang to continue to remember, the cave suddenly began to tremble. The entire dungeon is facing collapse. Li Yuyang yelled, "The abyss of death is about to crumble. Let's get out of here." As soon as the words fell, the three of them ran out at a rapid pace. They just left. Huge boulders covered the entire area. Although the quest strategy has ended, but the doubts that lingered in Li Yuyang's heart, and not eliminated. Speaking of which, what exactly did Darasi mean by that last sentence? Does he know where he comes from? A lifetime of knowledge shattered the stone above Ainjing's head with precision. Even if it's running away. Dirk Leopard, haven't you forgotten to take care of the milk and the team? Right now. There was a loud bang overhead. Immersed arrived just in time. But Li Yuyang, I still have unsolved problems in my mind. The guy called Jodia. What exactly is the identity? How could he know so much about the course of the game? Is it really just a game genius? The next second, the walls trembled. The huge stigma completely shattered the stones that stood in the way. Yanjing threw a punch with a calm face. Smashed directly through the corpse wall blocking the way. Just a second before the molten erupted. Li Yuyang carried the smoke mirror on his back, towards the bottom of the volcano at great speed. Slip though there are still many things that cannot be explained. But the fact of taking down the Oz handbrake has not changed. They're the strongest team in the whole server. Come to think of it, Yuyang couldn't help but raise his hands again. A hearty smile seems to freeze on his face. Wait until everything is dark. There was talk of strangers in the room. What is this silly boy laughing at? It's really interesting. Is it so dishonest to sleep? In a trance, Li Yuyang opened his eyes. Then he began to gasp for breath. The game hatch opens. It was as if a century had passed. Li Yuyang sat up, straight weakly. See this scene? The man walked up to Li Yuyang. Don't get me wrong, I just wanted to confirm. You're not going to run away, are you? By the way, don't forget your promises. Why are there still a lot of debts that have not been settled? But Li Yuyang didn't care about the man's words at all. He just felt very strange. Could it be that everything before was just a dream? Li Yuyang hurriedly looked in the mirror. The man in the picture looks extremely vicissitudes. This is what it looks like. There is also a 20-year-old spirited. Li Yuyang hurriedly sat up. He kept glancing around. Didn't I just kill Oz? How did it come out here? Who are you? Seems it's back to that desperate moment 15 years ago. Li Yuyang's whole person was on the verge of collapse. Are Dirk Cat and Ainjing also fake? I'm still the one who took out the loan on my back. The old bird is just a fiction. Li Yuyang looked up at the sky in disbelief. Lao Tzu saw so many flowers. Is teasing him Meow just a fantasy of a poisonous dog before he dies? The man gambled everything. As long as the Enforcer sword is strengthened to +9 or more, you will be able to pay off the loan. Mary Bai Fume. But look at the dilapidated furniture. Li Yuyang's whole person was in a trance. He came to the streets like a walking corpse. Just around the corner, a white sedan parked quietly at the intersection. Watch the drama carefully. A woman's shadow could be faintly seen. Right now, Liu Yanran's younger brother, Liu Hong, walked over. "Little brother, I know you're short of money. Or Lao Tzu will bring you a little more. All you need is an overtime weapon. You'll be able to turn the page." But the ugly words are ahead. Favors are favors. If you dare to overdo, beware of Lao Tzu throwing you into the Huangpu River to feed the fish. The woman in the car didn't move. Li Yuyang looked at Liu Yanran with hope. She want to help. Would like to get an answer too. If everything before was fake, then the reality is too cruel. Li Yuyang knelt weakly on the deserted street. Her body couldn't help but tremble. It turned out to be all a dream. What the hell did I do wrong, old traitor? Why are you playing with me like this? Li Yuyang's eyes became more and more desperate. The blow was so great that he lost consciousness again. The quilt suddenly lifted. Li Yuyang sat up from the bed, sweating profusely. The newly bought 3-bedroom apartment is still so neat. The room was quiet. Only Li Yuyang's violent wheezing sound remained. The image of Darasi came to mind again. What NPC said made Li Yuyang sleep. And Jodia, this guy must know something inside her too. Except for both of them. Blackening old birds is also a big problem. It seems that he can also see what Li Yuyang fears the most. Teeth rattles. At all costs. It is impossible for Lao Tzu to give up everything now. Wash up quickly and go out. Li Yuyang strode out of the community. He meows Lao Tzu probably won't have any terminal illness. 15 minutes later, gym inside the swimming pool. Li Yuyang waved his arms desperately. The body of a 21-year-old is always full of energy. He is well aware of the talent of life now. It is the vigorous exercise that oneself pursues. He gradually forgot the contents of a nightmare. It doesn't matter if it's a dream or not. There are some things I always have to do. Downstairs in the hospital, Liu Hong let out a burst of laughter. Li Yuyang has just appeared. Liu Hong rushed over at an angle of 45 degrees. Don't wait for Li Yuyang's reaction. Liu Hong knocked him on the spot. Thank you for saving my sister. Li Yuyang looked at the man in front of him silently. Compared to the previous life, in this life, Liu Hong has given up the loan business. The whole person has become a lot kinder. Thanks to you. My sister's surgery was successfully completed. King Ma, you're such a good person. Now Li Yuyang knows. In the previous life, the sisters and brothers were in order to treat Liu Shiyue's illness. Will do some things that deceive and deceive. It is because of the appearance of the king of horses. Change the fate of the siblings. Even if the two have met before. Li Yuyang just mentioned it. Stop doing things that are not virtuous. I'll give you a job. I didn't expect Liu Hong to be so obedient. It's really good. But since I have promised to help arrange work, of course, Li Yuyang will not break his promise. Come with me. This job is guaranteed to keep you satisfied. Studio downstairs. Liu Hong looked at the roof in surprise. Is this your new studio? Will my skills be able to join your team? Li Yuyang didn't explain much. The two walked into the elevator together. Brand new V2 equipment. Brand new computers. Look at everything in front of you. Liu Hong smiled from ear to ear. Are you going to open a brand new internet cafe? Are these 2 tiers your property? Li Yuyang shook his head calmly. You're wrong. Not these 2 layers. It's the whole building. In addition to the lobby of the game equipment, there's also a live streaming room. Brand new game pods. It can be used for black training. The building has a total of 17 floors. Li Yuyang has already bought them all. This is the training base of the King of Horses team from now on. Of course, the top floor is Li Yuyang's private space. You can't come up at will without permission. These words completely shocked Liu Hong. As a small loan manager, Lu Hong had never seen such a big battle at all. Right now, Lu Shuriwei staggered over. His power is slowly recovering. Now it is only possible to walk normally with the help of the mango barrier. But Lu Shuriwei is already a member of King Ma's team. And not only him, Ma Tian is also at the training base. Seeing strangers, Ma Tian nodded very politely. Lu Shile hurriedly opened his mouth to introduce. He's a well-known pro. Seeing my sister so close to this strange man, Lu Hong immediately turned on the brother-in-law mode. Are you in love? This is something that your sister and I don't know. You kid can't be lying to my sister. The little brother was sweating a moment ago. In the next second, you have to knock one on the spot. This black belt manager is a character. In order to solve their nightmare once and for all, Li Yuyang decided to arrange a job for Lu Hong. But, seeing his cabbage so close to Ma Tian, Lu Hong's temper immediately committed. If you dare to bully him, be careful of Lao Tzu's offline real you. Say hello. Li Yuyang took Lu Hong and walked towards the elevator. But Ma Tian had a trace of doubt in his heart. Why does it feel like an old bird to Lu Yin? The Rand family has a special affection. The two sisters are left alone. How did Lu Hong also recruit in? Could it be that this is his brother-in-law? Come to the elevator entrance. Li Yuyang skillfully pressed to the 17th floor. Wait until the elevator opens. Lu Hong asked with a shocked face. Just said this is your private area. Why did you bring me up? Li Yuyang calmly walked in front and followed. I'll do it. I said I'm going to get you a job. Open the room. Li Yuyang looked at Lu Hong seriously. I've given me the opportunity. The rest is up to you. In Li Yuyang's nightmare, Lu Hong is the person who brings him the biggest trouble. In order to be able to get a good night's sleep thoroughly, Li Yuyang decided to keep Lu Hong by his side. There was a piece of paper quietly on the table. There are 4 words of credit contract written on it. Read what is on the paper. The salary of the employee. Lu Hong was stunned for a moment. He asked incredulously, aren't you kidding? Li Yuyang nudda silanli. The next second, Lu Hong showed a bright smile. Mr. Ma. From now on, you will be my Uncle Jean. If you say that, you have to knock one again. Li Yuyang hurriedly stopped him. The contrast with the nightmare is too great. Cause Li Yuyang to have a dreamy feeling. But since I agreed, of course, Li Yuyang will not refuse to pay an extra salary. After solving Lu Hong's matter, Li Yuyang returned to his office. He's going to start thinking about how to play an Asian Cup. The equipment was bought. The training base was also bought. If the team doesn't get a good result, Li Yuyang's funds can't be burned for too long. And he's been playing tuba all this time. King Ma Dong. It's been a long time since he has been seen in front of the public. Video revenue has plummeted. If there is no Queen Horse support team established by Lu Yinran, maybe mostly, people have forgotten about the last one. Champion figures. But I remembered the woman, Li Yuyang. I can't help but connect with last night's dream. But he also knew it. Lu Yinran in this life. It's not the bad guy who makes a living by deceiving people. The woman is Lu Yinran at this time. I guess I'm still working at a TV station. Solve the problem with my sister. He was finally able to find a normal job to do. Right now, Ruo walked up with the coach. He holds a list of Asian Cup entries. Just as Li Yuyang judged before, many of the older versions of the Pinnacle team have been disbanded or restructuring. Even Ruyu's old club K1. It is also impossible to escape the fate of reorganization. Li Yuyang. Carefully look at the name of each team. He was contrasting with the memories of his past lives. The appearance of old birds. It really disrupted the original timeline. But the direction of some big events has not changed. Come to think of it, Li Yuyang couldn't help but show a hint of a smile. No matter what changes there are to the participating teams, the current team is not afraid of anyone's challenge. Right now, Lu Yinran sent a text message. The Asian Cup is about to take place. Xiao Nizi wants to help King Ma build momentum in advance. But I remembered the last offline gathering. Li Yuyang couldn't help but leave a drop of cold sweat. Fans will still forget it. There is no joy in winning the game. Followed by Royu introduced the rules of the tournament. So far, 12 countries have signed up. The league will be based on a point system. Each of the 3 countries is grouped, only to win the group, in order to remember the competition for the semifinals. Since this is the first held by the Most High God, Asian Cup League, so winning the championship means a lot to the team. The corners of Ryu's mouth lifted slightly. Our team is newly formed, though, but I think it's coming to you. It shouldn't be hard to say. But before that, you need to win the domestic selection tournament first. This one is even simpler. There are 10 teams in total. Finishing in the top 3 will give you a ticket to the Asian Cup. The more Ryu spoke, the more excited she became. This is the first battle for a new team. It's not just about winning. You have to win beautifully. Listen to the rules of the game. Li Yuyang sighed heavily. Compared to previous lives, the version of the tournament has arrived early. The date of the competition has also changed. Luckily, though, neither the schedule nor the rules have changed much. This made Li Yuyang feel relaxed. It's now very close to the date of the competition. There really isn't much time left for them to run in. Dirk Cat and Ian Jing are okay to say. All this time they've been playing copies together. Ma Writing and Lu Shuriyue are a little rusty. If you remember correctly, the first few events of the Asian Cup, the test is the overall strength of the entire team. Dirk Cats have inconvenient legs. Lu Shuriyue's eyes have not fully recovered. Yi's quiet home is too far away from the training base. Only Ma Ritian, a former professional player, can be on call at any time. That's why Li Yuyang will be prescient. Bought the whole building ahead of schedule. In addition to personal studios and internet cafes, the 4th and 5th floors are all hotel rooms. Enough to accommodate everyone on the team. Stay here for a long time. Everything is ready to go. It's time to train them with the devil. There are times when world champions fall off the altar. It turned out that the King of Horses was just an outdated player just a few days ago. The old bird came to Lu Yinran's house. He wants to hire Lu Hong. Of course, I have to say hello to Lu Yinran in advance. In fact, Lu Hong is a very good person. I wanted him to be my office manager. Li Yuyang and Lu Yinran have been in private contact since helping to treat Lu Shuriyue. Lu Yinran's feelings for Li Yuyang. It's not just idols and fans. Why did you choose my brother? You don't have to be because of me. Take special care of him. Of course, Li Yuyang didn't dare to say what he dreamed of. I have been observing Lu Hong for a long time. He is well suited to be an office manager, and he can also take care of Shiryu from time to time. Hear this. Lu Yinran's smile was even stronger. It's great to have met you. It just so happens that we've been working on a studio lately. Of course, Li Yuyang is very clear. In the previous life, Lu Yinran and Lu Hong has a black-hearted studio. They manage hundreds of game pods. Although Lu Hong is not as fierce as before, but this kid does have a flair for managing clubs. A and B miss the day. Lu Hong can not only bring Li Yuyang a sense of security, maybe he can really be bigger and stronger in this field. Followed by Li Yuyang once again talked about the Ma Wang Support Association. Lu Yinran is really too attentive. Made Li Yuyang a little embarrassed. Otherwise, I'll pay you some salary. The 3 of you siblings work together to help me. Lu Yinran hurriedly refused. My brother and sister can't trouble you anymore. As for me, forget it. And so far, Horse King Fan Club. It's what I love to do. If you really want to say thank you, I got to say it. Looked at the gentle Lu Yinran. Li Yuyang actually felt a little uncomfortable. But the next second, Lu Yinran returned to her true nature again. Don't really worry about me. I already have a job. Now the most important thing is, catch that damn old bird.